Meeting open. For better time management, now we will discuss the same point 7b, point 88, and I propose directly to go to the core of this resolution. It's point 8 of the original decision. And we have first of all to decide, do we agree to inscribe Syria in list of danger? And then, after we decide on this point, we can rewarding all the rest. So, please, put on the screen. Point 9 of the original text. I will quote paragraph 9 of the original text. In the absence of confirmation by the state party that work have been halted on the tower project and that measures are in place to modify the design and height of the building, decides, in conformity with the paragraph 177 and 179 of the operational guidelines, to inscribe the Cathedral Alcazar at Archivo de Indias in Seville on the list of World Heritage in danger. So I propose to discuss first of all this item, and then we will move and rewarding the rest of this resolution. So floor is open. Please, who wants to give their opinion? Switzerland, Estonia. Switzerland, floor is yours.
Merci Madame la Présidente. La Suisse s'est déjà prononcée pour une inscription sur la liste du patrimoine en péril de ce site, car selon nous, les menaces qui sont requises pour cette inscription sont confirmées. Comme il le dit, le rapport de mission que nous a été soumis. Il faut aussi se rappeler les décisions antérieures du comité qui sont allées dans ce sens, que l'impact est négatif. Le projet s'est poursuivi et à notre avis, donc, les conditions sont remplies pour cette inscription sur la liste en péril. Et puis, il va de la crédibilité de ce comité pour faire ce pas et inscrire ce bien sur la liste en péril. Et comme ça, l'année prochaine, on pourrait prendre des mesures ou tirer des conclusions qui vont au-delà de ce pas. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Estonia, please take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. According to Estonia, the original point 9 is correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who else wants to express their opinion? France, floor is yours.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente. La France, de son côté, est tout à fait opposée à l'inscription de ces villes sur la liste en péril. Je pense qu'il y a plusieurs considérations dont il faut tenir compte. Cette tour a été construite par un architecte de renommée internationale qui s'appelle César Pelli. Peut-être que dans 100 ans, il se trouvera des experts pour demander l'inscription de cette tour sur la liste du patrimoine mondial. N'oublions pas la relativité des choses et des jugements. Je vais prendre un autre exemple général. Nous voyons bien que nous avons des problèmes qui sont des problèmes sérieux avec toutes les exploitations minières un peu partout dans le monde. Et en même temps, notre pays, la France, cette année, va proposer l'inscription du site d'un bassin minier. Donc, on voit bien que tout cela change, est très volatile, et il faut que nous soyons très mesurés dans nos décisions. Donc, la France souhaiterait insister sur la qualification en ce qui concerne ces villes de l'impact visuel. La tour ne se voit que du clocher de la Giralda, qui est situé au-delà du fleuve. Cette perspective n'est pas une perspective historique de la ville. Et il n'existe, semble-t-il, qu'un seul point d'où la tour et la Giralda sont visibles ensemble, qui sont situés bien au-delà de la zone tampon. Donc, compte tenu de cette qualification de l'impact visuel, on pourrait considérer que cette mini-crise qui est ouverte par la construction de cette tour nous offre une opportunité, l'opportunité de développer une nouvelle approche du bien lui-même, de son extension, de sa définition, de ses valeurs et surtout de sa gestion durable. Ainsi, je voudrais rappeler que le projet de la tour comporte d'autres aspects: requalification de la valeur urbaine de la ville, développement des services sociaux, développement économique et aménagement urbain. Tous ces volets pourraient être intégrés à une approche rénovée du bien et de sa gestion, incluant, le cas échéant, un projet d'extension du bien. Pour toutes ces raisons, la France est vraiment hostile à une mise en péril. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Now I give the floor to Colombia. The floor is yours.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Colombia quiere expresarse en el mismo sentido. Estamos totalmente opuestos a que Sevilla sea puesto en la lista en peligro. Para estar en la lista en peligro, los Estados partes o no han cumplido con la protección del valor universal o con los criterios o la autenticidad o la integridad. En este caso, nosotros consideramos que realmente Sevilla es uno de los casos impecables de cómo se han preservado y conservado estos detalles. Sí, se construyó fuera del buffer zone una torre que tiene un impacto visual, ellos no lo niegan, nadie lo niega, pero yo quisiera que el Estado parte me confirmara algo que dijeron que no lo han explicado bien y yo quisiera entenderlo bien hasta dónde pueden llegar ellos, me confirmaran qué van a hacer con el plan de desarrollo de Sevilla. Ellos en algún momento mencionaron algo, pero yo quisiera saber cuál es la disposición de este nuevo gobierno de Sevilla. ¿Qué quieren hacer para cambiar este plan, para que este tipo de torres no se vuelva a hacer? Gracias, señora. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Germany, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I think nobody of us has some pleasure in putting things on a danger list. After all the information I have, and with trust to the findings of the study that was undertaken, I think this might even be considered today to be directly put off the list. So for me, this paragraph is a compromise version. It gives the city and ICOMOS and other parties who can help 1 year to find out whether something can be done or cannot, and it also gives it 1 year to find out whether they want to come up with alternative modernization of their World Heritage Site, buffer zones and the context. But we have to make the point of the seriousness. I would like my expert to elaborate on that.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I like to underline that three-dimensional view axes are as important as plain buffer zones. Therefore, we support, we share the concerns of Switzerland and of Estonia, and we'd like to have one more year for evaluate the visual impacts.
Thank you very much. So now I give the floor to Algeria. The floor is yours.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je me joins à l'avis de la France et de la Colombie et je confirme pour notre part que ce bien ne devrait pas être inscrit sur la liste en péril. En plus de ce qui vient d'être dit, il me semble que lorsque les choses sont là et lorsqu'il y a un fait qui est là, il faut être réaliste et se dire, est-ce que cette tour va être démolie? Je ne le crois pas. Est-ce qu'il est de l'intérêt du comité de prendre des décisions qui, je dirais à perpétuité, ne se régleront pas? Et donc, je propose de ne pas inscrire ce site en péril qui a déjà fait, dont le cas est là devant nous, et c'est un fait accompli, puisqu'il y a eu, quand même depuis 3 ans, il y a eu le comité du patrimoine mondial à Séville qui s'est tenu. On aurait pu en discuter là-bas, sur place. Donc, nous sommes devant une réalité. Et peut-être faudrait-il demander à l'État partie, de nouveau, Madame la Présidente, s'il accepte de suspendre les travaux pendant une durée minimale, puisqu'il faut dire qu'il y a des contrats qui ont été passés, et il y a des mesures économiques, donc des incidences économiques assez importantes et sociales, incidences économiques assez importantes. Peut-être faudrait-il demander à l'État partie s'il accepte de suspendre pendant une durée limitée afin d'étudier les voies et moyens de réduire l'impact visuel avec les COMOS, bien entendu, avec les organes consultatifs. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Senegal.
Merci Madame la Présidente. La question qui est soumise aujourd'hui à notre appréciation est très douloureuse. Il me souvient, quelques années encore, nous étions à Séville et nos amis du patrimoine nous avaient montré une chose horrible, et c'est cette tour que l'on vient de voir maintenant. Le fait est accompli, mais il faut tenir compte de 2 choses. La première chose, à mon avis, c'est que cette tour n'est pas dans la zone tampon, elle n'est pas dans la zone du site, elle est ailleurs. Il faut en tenir compte, c'est une évidence. Maintenant, on se rend compte qu'il y a un impact visuel qui est extrêmement négatif et il faut réfléchir là-dessus. Moi, je serais d'avis qu'on essaie de trouver une solution alternative, c'est-à-dire peut-être un gel avec un suivi rapproché et essayer de voir si on peut trouver dans des délais raisonnables des solutions correctives. Pourquoi? Je le dis parce que je pense que quand on parle du patrimoine mondial, il faudrait qu'on soit totalement dans la logique du patrimoine. Le patrimoine, ce n'est pas seulement ce que nous avons reçu en héritage. Les anciens, ils étaient extrêmement perspicaces. Au patrimoine, ils ont toujours accolé la notion de tradition, ce qui mérite d'être transmis. Et les communautés apportent toujours quelque chose au patrimoine qu'elles ont reçu en héritage. Il faut qu'on embarque cela dans la réflexion afin que nous, le comité du patrimoine mondial, en collaboration avec les organisations consultatives, qu'on essaie de voir dans quel sens et dans quelle mesure les patrimoines que nous avons reçus en héritage peuvent évoluer en conservant leurs valeurs universelles exceptionnelles. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much, Mali. Take the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Madame la Présidente, le débat au niveau du comité est en train de prendre notre allure et il y a des courants qui se dessinent. Je voudrais être concret, Madame. Face à cette situation, le Mali va proposer une solution consensuelle. Nous proposons au lieu du patrimoine mondial en péril un mécanisme de suivi renforcé. Pourquoi un mécanisme de suivi renforcé? Parce que dans le préambule même du projet de décision, il y a des actions en cours. Donc nous devons donner un peu le temps à l'État partie pour mettre, si vous voulez, en action ces différentes activités-là et leur donner au moins une chance. Et ainsi, en adoptant le mécanisme de suivi renforcé, nous amenons également nos amis ensemble. Merci.
Thank you very much. Who else wants to express? Qatar, please.
شكرا سيدتي الرئيسة. نحن نتفق مع ما ورد على لسان ممثل فرنسا والجزائر وكولومبيا في رفض التسجيل على قائمة الخطر، وهذا يعني هذا قرارنا. شكرا.
Thank you very much. Russian Federation, floor is yours.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Мы хотели бы сказать Российской Федерации, что это, наверное, классификация сложных случаев, это один, наверное, из самых сложных, когда в структуре исторических, древних городов, а Севилья таким является, происходят те вещи, которыми иногда не можем руководить. Культурологи, так называемые, ни Министерство культуры, ни мы, охранники. Я думаю, это тот самый случай, поэтому, мне кажется, здесь все сделали ошибку. Правительство не доследили, мы вовремя не остановили, пожестче. И сейчас такая ситуация, когда нам кажется, что надо дать еще возможность Испании, как стране и городу, попробовать еще все-таки что-то сделать. Поэтому Российская Федерация против внесения Севильи в список опасности.
Thank you very much. Mexico, floor is yours.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Mi delegación ha manifestado antes nuestra preocupación porque en este caso no se hayan tomado en cuenta que el proyecto, que Sevilla, no se inscribió como paisaje cultural, sino que se inscribieron los monumentos. Y esta cuestión impacta de alguna manera o debería de haber sido tomada en cuenta antes de tomar una decisión de esta naturaleza. En ese sentido, pues nosotros también creemos que aparte de lo que se ha dicho y tomando en consideración la voluntad que ha expresado en esta sala el Estado parte para poder aceptar una misión, etcétera, cabe detenernos antes de inscribir el bien en la lista de bienes en peligro y tomar en consideración todo lo que se ha expresado en la sala. Gracias, señora presidenta.
And thank you very much. United Arab Emirates, floor is yours.
شكرا السيدة الرئيسة. نحن في الإمارات نتفق مع مضمون ما عبرت عنه معظم الوفود، وخاصة ما يتعلق بالحرص بالتوصيات من الجهات الاستشارية لحالة الموقع في الدولة الطرف، والتوفيق باستعداد الدولة لبذل الجهد المناسب في هذا الاتجاه، وخاصة أنه كما هو واضح من المعلومات هذه المسألة خارج نطاق البفر زون، ولذلك سيظل أمامنا معرفة أي آثار أخرى تترتب خارج إطار المنطقة العازلة مستقبلا. وطالما أبدت الدولة استعدادها لاستقبال جهات المتابعة، فهذا مؤشر يدفعنا للاتفاق مع ما قيل في إعطاء الدولة الطرف الفرصة المناسبة. شكرا.
Thank you very much. India, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Much of this has been said before, but our view is that this is a difficult decision because of the difficult history that has gone into it. But this is an iconic city. This is a city that goes back in time, in history, in particular for its architecture and its way of life. What was inscribed were monuments. It was not an urban landscape, which even today is not defined. What the issue of visual integrity is again something that it's going to come back time and again to haunt us. We believe that the state party is offering, is actually beginning, is going to carry out and take steps that bring an objective process of assessment. We would oppose the inscription on the list of danger and would welcome the efforts of the state party to evolve and go through a process that would lead, hopefully, to a happier conclusion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Ethiopia, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In line with the explanations made by my colleagues, especially lately with India, I think the state party is willing and there are rooms for further mitigation measures. So it could be premature to inscribe it on danger list. So we don't need to, I think we don't need to inscribe it on the list of danger. Thank you.
So now I would like to give the floor to ICOMOS.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just would like to make a couple of points on behalf of ICOMOS. In the State Party report last year, which was mentioned to the committee, this talked about the concept of the World Heritage Site and its relationship with the city. And it talked about the city being an indispensable support for the World Heritage Site, and that one couldn't fence in the landscape. And there was a need for a study which must foster a review of action both in and outside the buffer zone. At that time, ICOMOS was very supportive of the State Party's views on this understanding of the city, which in turn contributed towards the beginning of protection for the various historic zones of the city. We are therefore still very supportive of this idea that you cannot fence in the landscape, and that the monuments that were inscribed can only really be understood within their wider context of an urban landscape. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, like I see the situation, so our committee is divided. As I see, the majority is against the inscription. What we will do in this, can we achieve some consensus? Germany, Switzerland, Estonia, can we, let's say, give the Sevilla one more year? And hearing from ICOMOS of their desire to work with the country, is it necessary now to put in the list of danger? Yes, Germany, please.
If I may, Madam Chair, to me it's very important that the committee stays consistent. We have made a decision last year that nobody has even quoted. That was a harsh decision. I realize the opinion of the committee. I think it's wrong, but that's how we work. We try to work on consensus, as was rightfully pointed out by our Mali colleague. So I could live with this 1 year if we would have a harsh wording on what has happened in the rest of this resolution. I have to come back to cities like Dresden and others without the shame of double or triple standards being played here. And I'm happy to give them 1 more year, but then please ask this state party and also the mayor of Sevilla to forgive me. I would like to hear a word from him, how he sees what has happened in the past as a basis of the solution for the future. And that would maybe help very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mali. The floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Non, c'était juste pour rappeler la position du Mali. Nous avons proposé une solution intermédiaire, à savoir le mécanisme de suivi renforcé, avec des mesures correctives. Voilà, merci.
No, it seems to me that it has not only to be the monitoring mission. So we work maybe together with ICOMOS, with the expert of ICOMOS, even more, because monitoring mission, it's only to react what it was done. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Rao, remind me that reinforced monitoring mission applies only to the sites which are in the list of danger. Reinforced monitoring mission. It's in accordance with our rules. So it has to be monitoring mission, not reinforced monitoring mission, if we don't decide not to inscribe this year in the list of danger. Switzerland, please. The floor is yours.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je voulais juste répondre dans les mêmes termes que vous venez de le faire au délégué du Mali. Donc vous m'avez devancé. Merci.
Thank you very much, Colombia.
Sí, señora presidenta, gracias. Quisiera recordarle que si pudiera ser posible darle la palabra al Estado parte. ¿Por qué? Porque ellos han hecho una consignación de compromisos que yo creo que son muy importantes oírlos y de pronto pudieran ser consignados aquí en la decisión, de manera que les podamos hacer un seguimiento, porque el compromiso del país a Colombia nos parece evidente. Entonces, si pudiéramos darle la palabra, se lo agradecería.
Thank you very much. I first give the floor to Estonia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We wanted to express that the proposal made by Germany is definitely in place. We think that taking into account the long history of this debate, the years of debate over Seville already, the state party has been arrogant. There should be homework done, and I would like to remind you that Tallinn also cancelled high-rise building according to the advice of the advisory bodies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now I give the floor to State Party of Spain. Floor is yours.
Muchas gracias, Presidenta. En primer lugar, quería dejar patente el compromiso que tiene el Estado español y la ciudad de Sevilla con los principios de la Convención. Orgulloso de nuestro patrimonio en Sevilla, queremos seguir formando parte con nuestros bienes del patrimonio mundial, y lo decimos aquí públicamente. No queremos pasar a la lista de una ciudad que tiene su patrimonio mundial en peligro, porque están siendo cuidados de una manera extrema. Curiosamente, el que es de titularidad municipal, los Reales Alcázares de Sevilla acaban de recibir 2 distinciones de la UNESCO para utilizar el logo de su 40 aniversario, fruto de los distintos proyectos que se vienen realizando. Pero es verdad que quiero aprovechar esta vez para volver a ratificar nuestros compromisos, no solo con la Convención, sino con las distintas medidas que hemos puesto hoy encima de la mesa. En primer lugar, hemos destacado la legalidad que tiene el proyecto que se viene construyendo de Puerto Triana, al mismo tiempo que ya se ha destacado que forma parte de una ciudad moderna, de una Sevilla moderna. Pero nosotros queremos redactar un plan especial inmediatamente que impida que en el futuro se puedan volver a construir proyectos de ese tipo, que afecten al paisaje urbano histórico en el que se desenvuelven los bienes de patrimonio mundial. Aunque es curioso, los bienes que en Sevilla forman parte del patrimonio mundial los forman por las condiciones que tienen los tres bienes, nunca y en ningún momento por el paisaje urbano que se quisiera proteger en su día. En segundo lugar, como estamos convencidos de que hay que apostar por la preservación de nuestro patrimonio, nosotros procederemos dentro de ese plan especial ante la UNESCO a solicitar la ampliación del bien a otros edificios y zonas de la ciudad. Y por último, es verdad que hay temas que quedan que definir claramente a lo largo de los próximos meses y semanas, que sería deseable, y es qué es lo que va a suceder desde el punto de vista teórico y doctrinal en relación con el paisaje urbano y los bienes patrimonio mundial. Y ahí ofrecemos la hospitalidad de Sevilla, la patrimonialidad de Sevilla, para organizar próximamente un congreso de expertos en la materia, repito, como dije esta mañana, para que haya unas normas claras que se nos aplique a todos por igual y que todo el mundo sepa a qué atenerse. Me parece fundamental, querida presidenta, hacer una valoración de lo que es el proyecto que se ha hecho fuera de la ciudad histórica, fuera al otro lado del río. No, este Gobierno se lo ha encontrado a la mitad de su construcción, pero he de decir que además de que reúne todos los requisitos legales y no queremos que otra vez se vuelvan a construir otros de ese tipo, el valor económico y social que tiene ese edificio en el día de hoy es muy importante. Sevilla, como España, viene padeciendo una crisis económica. Es un proyecto que alcanza la máxima calificación española de eficiencia medioambiental, 5A. Espacios verdes a disposición de la ciudad, todo zona peatonal, un museo, pasarela peatonal, eliminar el tráfico del centro de la ciudad con 3.500 plazas de aparcamiento, además todas dotadas para coche eléctrico. En definitiva, un proyecto que va a suponer trabajo y desarrollo en nuestra ciudad. De tener que tirarlo, tendríamos que indemnizar con una suma importantísima de dinero de la que no dispone hoy por hoy el Ayuntamiento de Sevilla. Pero nos comprometemos a que inmediatamente, la semana que viene, si es posible, y cómo venga Sevilla, y que nos diga también claramente qué es lo que quieren que se haga con la torre, porque con todos los respetos de la ciudad hacia ICOMOS hay algo también importante. Jamás se nos ha dicho cuántas plantas habría que quitarles en cualquier caso, ni tampoco de qué manera se podía eliminar también el impacto visual sobre la ciudad. Creo que en eso tenemos que avanzar mucho y tenemos que avanzarlo inmediatamente. La ciudad está a disposición de este comité y a disposición, sin duda alguna, de la UNESCO para seguir creciendo en el valor patrimonial que tenemos entre nuestras manos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. So, if we agreed with this quite strong statement from Germany, opinion of Switzerland and Estonia, but we take a decision not to inscribe it in the list of danger, so I would like to ask you to create the group which now work a little bit on this resolution and then bring it to us, because we stopped very much on this item and we have ahead a lot of, we stopped on Europe, but we have all the regions. So I would like to ask you, so may I ask Switzerland, Colombia, France, to prepare you know, the resolution, taking in mind that we agreed that we will not inscribe a list of danger. And we will proceed and we will go on. Or you want to look now? Okay, let's go.
Excusez, Madame la Présidente, mais en ce cas-là, je crois que personnellement, la Suisse, en tout cas c'est notre position, nous ne pouvons pas être très utiles. Merci.
If you don't want to participate in drafting group, maybe France, Colombia, and Mexico will look to the draft decision and correct in accordance with the decision made now, that we don't inscribe Mexico in the list of danger. And we... Civil, excuse me. Pardon. So with the help with somebody from Secretariat. Yeah? Okay, it seems to me it will be better if we proceed like this and then we return to this item. Mexico, are you agree?
Sí, señora Presidenta.
Muchas gracias. France and Colombia, please. And now we, yes.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I propose that we work, that I agree to this non-inscription, then, with the understanding that that this group will work on the basis of the original ICOMOS recommendation for the rest. Thank you.
Yes, of course. It has to be, you have the basis, has to be an original recommendation, as I understand. Yep.
Señora Presidenta, quiero estar absolutamente clara. Entonces, lo que estamos haciendo es trabajando sobre la decisión original. ¿Eso quiere decir que van a parar la construcción? No, discúlpeme, pero es que nosotros no podemos apoyar esa posición de parar la construcción. Simplemente el costo es inmanejable. Ellos no pueden parar la construcción de la torre en este momento. Este comité lleva discutiendo este tema, señora Presidenta, por 3, 4 años. Muchos de los miembros que están en este comité han venido tratando este tema. Pedirles en este momento, esto se hubiera podido pedir cuando iban 5 pisos y hacerlo una decisión definitiva, pero están terminando la torre en este momento. Realmente no podría ser parte del comité, del grupo, si lo que vamos a hacer es parar la construcción. Lo siento muchísimo. Si podemos tener ambas cosas en consideración, lo podríamos hacer. De otra manera, no sé cómo. Gracias.
México, please.
Señora Presidenta, creo que no es conveniente regresar y obviar la discusión que se ha tenido esta mañana y por parte de la tarde. Si empezamos a trabajar sobre la decisión original, cuando algunas partes que ya se han discutido y abundado y algunas sugerencias ya se han dado, y sobre todo cuando ya hay algunos acuerdos, o sea, entiendo que no todo está sujeto a revisión o no todo es objeto de discusión. Ya hay algunos acuerdos, entonces es importante que antes de hacer algún trabajo de redacción estemos claros de si estamos empezando de cero en la discusión o avanzando sobre algunos temas que ya se han empezado a perfilar en la discusión en la sala. Gracias, señora Presidenta.
Muchas gracias. As I understand, four points of this resolution we approved. So we stopped on the paragraph 5, which show the paragraph 5. Paragraph, no, down. So it was previously this. Okay, go ahead. If you are not ready to organize a working group, let's go point by point. So for paragraph we approved. Now, please put on the screen paragraph 5. Yeah, this one, stop. So it was proposal by Algeria, France, and Senegal to take off this point, and Germany, Switzerland, and Estonia reinstate this text, and Iraq. What we will do with this item, Germany?
I suggest that we take out, in view of the discussion, because there was indeed a misunderstanding now that we want to turn the wheel back before the discussion, to be undertaken on how the tower might be modified to mitigate, and then it goes away, adverse impact.
How it's possible?
Urges the state party to dialogue in order to allow
Excuse me, we have to understand that the tower is built. What has to be modified? So let's be very objective. Tower is built. We can't modify it.
construction work is half finished, was what the
It's
mayor
very
said.
clearly said by state party. United Arab Emirates, floor is yours.
شكرا السيدة الرئيسة. أنا أعتقد أن الإشارة التي تمت باستعداد الإيكومس أن تعمل مع الدولة الطرف في الفترة القادمة خلال السنة، أن هذا هو تكليف من قبل اللجنة وإعطاء فرصة لإيكومس لممارسة دراسة أي مخالفات سابقة وبحث السبل لتفادي هذا الأمر في المستقبل. نحن لسنا بصدد الآن القرار في قرارات يعني صارمة محددة ونكلف إيكومس أن تنزل في السنة القادمة. مازال إيكومس تمثل الجهة الاستشارية لهذه اللجنة، فلنعطيها فرصة للتعاون مع الدولة الطرف. وأعتقد أن ما زلنا صبرنا في الماضي. السنة القادمة هي أعطيت لدول كثيرة، ولكنها هذه النقاشات هي رسالة لكل الدول. فهذا رأينا أن التعاون مع الإيكومس يحل هذه المشكلة على الأقل لمدة سنة، وبعدها ممكن للجنة أن تتخذ أي قرارات تريدها.
Senegal, floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. On peut peut-être essayer de proposer une écriture, si vous le permettez, en tenant compte de ce qui a été dit. Ça pourrait être pris instamment l'État parti à geler les travaux et à entreprendre en collaboration avec l'ICOMOS des études en vue de mettre au point des mesures correctives pour atténuer l'impact visuel de la tour. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Colombia, floor is yours.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Quería hacer un comentario que hizo textualmente la embajadora de Alemania, pero salió del salón en este momento, entonces pues no sé si es pertinente, pero igual lo haré. Ella en su momento dijo, no podemos mejorar el pasado, pero sí el futuro. O sea, es un hecho que esta torre está construida, es un hecho que no se puede cambiar, pero creo que tenemos que enfatizar, y me da pena volverlo a decir, lo que dijo el alcalde. Van a cambiar el ordenamiento de la ciudad, van a cambiar el plan de ordenamiento de la ciudad. Eso es clave para que esto no se vuelva a repetir, pero no podemos cambiar lo que ya pasó. Tenemos que trabajar con eso y pues quisiera en base a eso poder trabajar rápidamente en la decisión que no entren en la lista en peligro. Gracias.
Thank you very much, France.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais dire simplement ce que je pense. Est-ce que nous souhaitons faire sortir ces villes de la liste des biens inscrits sur la liste du patrimoine mondial? Je crois que pour la majorité des membres du comité, la réponse est non. Deuxième question, est-ce que la tour existe? Oui, la tour existe. Donc, acceptons cette réalité. Troisièmement, profitons de cette situation, qu'on le regrette ou pas, pour essayer d'avoir une approche rénovée du bien. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much. If you see to this amended and revised, I would say, in this blue paper decision, it seems to me that next point completely says about what Colombia just said and what state party explained us, that the state party plan to complete and improve necessary special protected plan for all sectors of the buffer zone. So it means that we can't change now, but we have to prevent in future, not only for this state party, but future for the other such similar cases, that state parties start building such, objects without consulting with the ICOMOS, without elaborating the proper decision. So it seems to me that this point 5, which have been proposed by Algeria, France, Senegal to delete this text is right, because we can't suspend any work. The tower exists. Thank you very much. Mexico.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Estoy de acuerdo con su apreciación, pero si estoy entendiendo bien las enmiendas propuestas, tal vez este párrafo no es que se deba de eliminar completamente, sino solamente la parte en la que se exige al Estado parte suspender o terminar el trabajo en la torre y adecuarlo, porque yo pienso que es completamente legítimo para el trabajo del comité pedirle e incluso exigirle al Estado, porque además ha mostrado voluntad para hacerlo, que entre en colaboración con ICOMOS y que siga el diálogo con esa institución. O sea, todo el párrafo no es desechable, sino solamente tenemos que adecuar la primera parte. Propongo quitar urges the state party, all work on the Torre Peli Cajasol, y dejar urges the state party to undertake in collaboration con ICOMOS y lo que sigue en el párrafo en inglés. Esa noción creo que merece conservarse en el proyecto de decisión. Gracias.
But if you see, tower might be modified to mitigate adverse impact on the property. It can be modified. So we have to look very carefully what we say. Maybe undertake in collaboration with ICOMOS studies with a view to implement corrective measures to mitigate visual impact. But how it's possible to do? México,
gracias, señora presidenta, perdone. No, lo que yo estoy entendiendo es que si dejamos el párrafo allí, no se está diciendo que la torre va a ser modificada, sino que el Estado parte va a entrar en colaboración con ICOMOS para estudiar las posibles medidas correctivas. No, o sea, las medidas correctivas no se van a hacer inmediatamente, sino es para el diálogo del Estado parte con el órgano. Entonces, esa noción es valiosa. No se están iniciando las modificaciones inmediatamente, a mi modo de ver. Gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you very much, but it seems to me that after word of the tower, full stop, that's all, because the other to modify, to mitigate visual impact on the property, you know, they can't do it. Urges the state party undertake in collaboration with ICOMOS studies with a view to implement corrective measures to mitigate visual impact of the tower, full stop. Do you agree with such formulation of this paragraph 5? Do you agree with such formulation, Colombia?
Sí, señora presidenta. Estoy de acuerdo en que si quisiéramos dejar algo, to undertake in collaboration with ICOMOS studies with a view to para mejorar la situación, para que esto no se vuelva a repetir, pero la torre no se le pueden tomar ya medidas ni mitigantes, ni de cambio, ni nada. La torre es lo que es, ya está. Y lleva todos los años construyéndose. Cambiarla ahorita, estamos soñando. Los estudios, como ha sugerido el alcalde que se van a hacer estudios para cambiar, eso sí lo tiene que hacer en compañía con ICOMOS, de manera que quede algo que sirva para la posteridad, para todos los demás países como ejemplo. Pero, gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you very much, Senegal. The floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Moi, je commence à avoir un problème. J'étais tout à fait d'accord qu'on ne mette pas sur la liste du patrimoine en péril, mais je ne suis pas non plus d'accord que nous baissions totalement les armes. Je ne suis pas d'accord que le comité démissionne. Je pense qu'une situation a été constatée, il y a un fait accompli, on prend acte de ce fait-là, mais en même temps, on le fait de manière active. Je pense qu'il ne faut pas donner un chèque en blanc à l'entrepreneur. Tous les entrepreneurs du monde sont pareils. Il va faire du bénéfice, il ne va se préoccuper que de ça. Et je pense que ce serait un message fort de demander un gel, ne serait-ce que sur le temps qu'il puisse, avec l'ICOMOS, aller sur place et essayer d'envisager des mesures d'atténuation. Je ne suis pas d'accord que le comité se rende armes et bagages à l'entrepreneur. Merci.
So, but can you give the concrete wording? Can you give the concrete formulation? How it would be possible to formulate this phrase?
La formulation que j'avais suggérée, c'est de prier instamment l'État parti à geler les travaux et à entreprendre en collaboration avec l'ICOMOS des études pour atténuer, simplement, on ne peut pas enlever ça, mais pour atténuer l'impact visuel. Il faut que l'État parti fasse un effort. Je pense que le comité a fait beaucoup d'efforts. Il faudrait qu'eux aussi fassent des efforts. Sinon, on accepte le fait accompli, il y en aura encore beaucoup. Merci.
Dear colleague from Senegal, if it will be not, dear colleague from Senegal, if it would be not constructed, this building, it would be possible to put such wording, but it is constructed. So we have to, how to say to other countries that we will not permit such, construction without maybe consultation, and they have to remember that their sites are World Heritage sites and they have to follow some rules. That's why let's be very pragmatic in this sense. Colombia, please.
Señora Presidenta, la última vez que tomo el micrófono, discúlpeme tantas veces, la única opción que nosotros vemos es que pudiéramos decir que trabajara en colaboración con ICOMOS para evitar desarrollos futuros similares, para desarrollar una estrategia para evitar desarrollos futuros similares o estudios similares, para desarrollar estudios y evitar desarrollos futuros similares. Esa es la propuesta que podríamos tener, porque no podemos negarnos que el impacto visual ya está hecho y que este comité lleva 4 años discutiendo este tema. No es la primera vez que esto sale. La torre, a medida que íbamos hablando, se iba construyendo. Eso no lo podemos negar. Si hubiéramos tomado esta decisión hace 4 años de pararlo, la torre estaría en su 5º piso y no en el 700º. Pero no es el caso. Entonces tenemos que asumir la posición que ha tomado el comité, el tiempo que nos hemos tomado en tomar una decisión exacta y asumirlo y prevenir que esto se repita y que sea una lección y una manera de entenderlo para el futuro. Gracias, señora Presidenta.
Thank you very much. Maybe we can formulate like this: urge of the state party to undertake in collaboration with ICOMOS studies with ICOMOS and to avoid similar development in the future. That's all. India, please take the floor.
Madam Chair, we entirely agree with your formulation, which we think is the best possible, the simplest, and we need to actually get the fastest as well. So we would go with it, we would agree with it. I have a point that I would like to make after we've done that on this subject, Madam Chair.
In my opinion, to be faster, it would be the best way to create small drafting group, and they can go very fast further on, because in my opinion, all the rest of this elaborated resolution is okay, because it takes all opinions which we discussed here. Maybe we go this way. Yes, Germany.
Okay, we agree to the wording up to the new paragraph 7, but the wording of the new paragraph 7 is absolutely unacceptable for us. We like to delete these paragraph completely and then afterwards go ahead with the new paragraph 9.
In which version? Paragraph?
As it stands on the screen. Now we scroll to the new paragraph 7. I think we can live with the other ones, but the new, I think, facing the fact that Seville is on the table of the World Heritage Committee since 2009, and the concerns, in the meantime, nothing happened. The concerns of the committee were not addressed. Therefore, I think it is not the right moment to invite the state party in this situation for enlarging the site, the existing site.
Dear colleagues, so we now discuss point 5. We take your opinion. We will come to this. So may I repeat the last version of the point which we discuss now. So it sounds: urges the state party to undertake, wow, it disappeared. To undertake in collaboration with ICOMOS studies to avoid similar developments in the future, full stop. Are you agree? So adopted. Let's go next item, please.
6.
Show us. This one. Please, Rapporteur, please take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. First, you have both the proposal of amendment presented by Algeria, France, and Senegal, plus the comment made by Germany this morning. So basically the paragraph would read, also urges the state party to complete and approve the necessary special protection plans for all sectors of the buffer zone to put in place appropriate protection for the wider setting in order to address the current development pressures. Such buffer zone will have to be revised in order to provide the appropriate protection to the property. I think we have to include.
Are you agree with this paragraph? Adopted. So now we go to the paragraph 6, new 6. Reporter, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the new paragraph 6, which was previous paragraph 7, so there is no amendment on this one, Madam Chairperson.
So are you agree with this paragraph? Adopted. Then paragraph 8. Paragraph 7.
Well, there are two proposals in here, Madam Chairperson, if you allow me. France, Senegal, and Algeria proposed to delete the previous paragraph 8, which referred to the request to the state party to present to ICOMOS and the World Heritage Center any new developments related with the tower, and they proposed the new paragraph 7 that you have in the screen. Sorry, Madam Chairperson, just another remark. The delegate of Germany in a moment just also suggested to delete the last sentence of this paragraph in order not to allow the presentation of an extension of the site. You may take that into account as well.
Germany, please. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We agree with deleting of the old para 8, and we like to have deleted also completely deleted also the complete new paragraph 7 completely.
Yes, in my opinion, this paragraph lists Switzerland. Please, floor is yours.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Nous soutenons la demande de l'Allemagne de biffer ce paragraphe aussi parce que ça nous paraît très bizarre de se féliciter de la décision de l'État partie de coopérer avec l'ICOMOS pour soumettre une extension. C'est pas possible. Merci Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much, France.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je voulais dire que j'étais entièrement d'accord avec l'ambassadeur de Suisse.
Thank you very much. It seems to me that I see no objection to delete paragraph 7.2. So, if I have no objection and other proposals, we delete this paragraph. So now we move on to the paragraph 8. So we agree that we delete the whole paragraph 8. Then paragraph 9 takes note of the state party offer to organize before the end of 2012 an international expert meeting in Sevilla to study the issue of contemporary architecture and of historic urban landscape. It seems to me a good proposal. Adopted. It was proposed to delete the paragraph 10. because it is no danger list, so all that paragraph are connected with the inscription in danger list. So I propose that para 10 and para 11 will be deleted from the text. I see no objection. Adopted. So now the paragraph 10 further requests the state party to submit to the World Heritage Center by 1st February 2013 a report on the state of conservation of the sites and on the advancement and results of the above decided actions for review by the World Heritage Committee and its 37th session in 2013. What is your opinion? Everybody agree? So adopted. And now we have to adopt overall decision like amended. So decision 36.7b.88 as amended.
Sorry, Madam Chairperson. I may just recall that we had left paragraph 2 in brackets because Germany was going to propose to us some language. They wanted to make reference to some previous decision of the committee, and so far we have not received this proposed text.
It is a reference to the previous decision concerning Seville in 2009, 10 and 11, I think. 11 is, but I think we should mention the other decisions up from 2009 onwards.
Okay, we can do it. Yeah.
So we can do it without special voting on this. So we consider that resolution 36.7b.80 is adopted as amended. Adopted. Thank you very much. So now we move on to the Latin American culture.
India wanted to make a statement.
Yes, please.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Yes.
Madam
please.
Chair, I'll be very brief. But to me, this entire couple of hours that we've spent on this, you began with the monument, you began with maybe 2 monuments, 3 monuments, and at some point it converted itself to an urban landscape. So buffer zones or protected zones, these all went out of the window. Now, the state party or the municipality or the municipal board may have been quite legally correct in according the necessary permissions and so on. We have to be very clear on this because this is what we would classify as mandate creep, where you begin with something and land up with something else. So when monuments are inscribed, then very clearly they should be treated as monuments. You cannot convert it to an urban landscape, Madam Chair. I would request the World Heritage Center to give it some thought and to come back at some point on this issue.
Thank you very much. Estonia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. After adopting this decision, Estonia would like to note that the committee seems to be torn between its own rules and principles and its member species. Unfortunately, it seems to us that principles are losing ground and the standards are slipping. When we discussed yesterday about a certain dam, the committee said it is too early to say anything. Now we say that it is too late, and therefore we need to be practical. We do not think that this is the right message to send out. It brings back a certain discussion that we had yesterday, where a matter has been debated several times and several chances have been offered to the state party to find a better solution. Unfortunately, this has not been the case. The committee needs to be consistent in its decisions, and the credibility of the convention is either strengthened or jeopardized with each and every decision that the committee takes. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Switzerland, floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais me faire l'écho de ce que je viens d'entendre de la part de l'Estonie et simplement vous dire à la fin de l'examen de ce point qu'en adoptant le type de décision que nous venons d'adopter, nous honorons finalement ceux qui agissent contre l'esprit de la Convention. Et ce n'est pas pour cela que nous sommes là, Madame la Présidente. Merci d'en prendre note.
Thank you very much, but it seems to me that all our debates and all these problems which we see now, it has to be the matter which has to be very precisely discussed by the open-ended group which we have to set up and to elaborate, you know, maybe we have to change the operational guideline, maybe we have, but we have to, you know, elaborate some kind of venue with the advisory bodies. Thank you very much. Serbia.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't wish to prolong this discussion, but I do want to note in reference to the previous comment from the delegate of Estonia with regard to precedents and historic cities and monuments, that we should remember that the list of great cities, historic cities in Europe, which show exactly opposite cases of what we have been debating today and examples that we have been invoking today, can be presented. And such discussion should be done, would be very useful, and I think some conclusions could be reached which could have value in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But now I would draw your attention that we have to move on and try to do it more quickly. So now Latin America and the Caribbean. And now I invite Mr. Nuritse Sanz to present the reports on the state of conservation of cultural property in Latin America and the Caribbean. And I would like to start with the sites which require no discussion of the committee.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The sites in Latin America and Caribbean region that do not need discussion this year are historic Bridgetown and its garrison in Barbados, the city of Potosi in Bolivia, port, fortresses, and group of monuments of Cartagena de Indias in Colombia, Maya sites of Copan in Honduras, pre-Hispanic city of Teotihuacan in Mexico, historic center of Arequipa in Peru, and historic quarter of the city of Colonia del Sacramento in Uruguay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. If you have no objection, we adopt the decision 36, 7B.95, 7B.96, 7B.98, 7B.100, 7B.101, 104, and 105 without discussion, for adoption without discussion. So adopted. Now I would invite Your Excellency Nuritse Sanz to present the report on the state of conservation of cultural properties Latin America and Caribbean under discussion. And we start with Brasilia.
Thank you.
Brazil.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We have been told that the distinguished ambassador of India have formulated a request to open the site for the discussion. And as to follow the same procedure that yesterday, I wonder if it's better to listen to the ambassador before introducing my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I await your approval to... Thank you, Madam Chair. It would also be helpful if we then put the amendments on the screen. I will continue while they're being put. Madam Chair, in this case, we are dealing with a property with a site inscription that goes back to 1987. As part of the draft decision, we have what I would think is an unusual recommendation, which is to halt the ongoing consultation process and establish an intersectoral official working group. This is unusual. I'm in the happy position of being able to say that I think we should have the consultative process. I think that's the spirit. I think that's the wish of the Committee of Civil Society, which the government of Brazil has been undertaking, and why would we want to put in place as an alternative an official working group? So that's really the first amendment. Secondly is not strictly semantic, but I think we need to be polite and request state parties, unless we have reasons for not doing so, and not urge them. Thirdly, the entire, there is a conflict here between what the World Heritage Convention can and should do and the sovereign rights, the sovereign duties, the sovereign responsibilities that devolve onto elected governments, to governments and state parties. And I think that there is a conflict here. And if we go down, we would actually see that. So one, why do we want to have or replace the ongoing consultation process with some kind of official closed-door working group, if that is the intention? Why don't we just stick with the original? Secondly, if you go further down, right, prior to approval and implementation, are we not bringing ourselves into positions or of authority that do not naturally devolve on us? So I would, the amendment which is there is something that would come into force if there is something that alters or threatens the outstanding universal value of the property. Similarly, further down, Madam Chair, again, the characteristics, the approved heights and each scale, we're getting into a level of micromanagement that is not only not warranted, but which the convention and its arms are not capable of carrying out. So that's the limited point, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to give the floor to World Heritage Center. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Chair. Next slide, please. Brazil invited a reactive monitoring mission requested by the World Heritage Committee last year to evaluate the state of conservation of the property, in particular on developments referred to in previous SOC report, as well as to discuss the decision-making process and the articulation of the regulation between local, federal, and national authorities responsible for the protection of the urbanism in Brasilia and Plan Piloto, and the planning of ongoing processes to regulate the development of the extensive territory of Brasilia, on which there are today 30 cities. Next slide, please. The expert concluded with a list of recommendations of legislative and regulatory frameworks as requested, according to the paragraph 172 of the operational guidelines, to submit the technical information of the transformation of the area occupied by the new stadium according to the requisites set up by FIFA. I would like to recall that in the current issues, the report stated very clearly that, in fact, there are 4 ongoing regulation processes. When Lucio Costa, the author of the main Plan Piloto Brasilia, stated all his philosophy in one of the, let's say, the testimony of the principle of the modern doctrine, was the same year that the site was inscribed on the World Heritage List. That means in 1987. Since that moment, ICOMOS referred, and I will pass later the floor to ICOMOS, ICOMOS referred that the regulations should take into account when preparing the conservation plan and the management plan for the city. Today, as we stated in the report, there are a conservation plan for the urban complex, a land management master plan, a land and use plan of occupation of the metropolis, and a fourth one, which is a plan director of the territorial planning of the federal district. As you may recall as well, in 2001, the World Heritage Committee requested a reactive monitoring mission. Unfortunately, since that moment, not all the regulations were in place and not all the measures were correctly implemented. That's why is our reading of the mission report that it could be very important for the state party to take all the possible measures to coordinate and to better articulate all the regulations, a different kind of framework that up to date were considered important but create as well some fragmentation in the decision-making process. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and ICOMOS want to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I give the floor to ICOMOS. I would like you to be a little bit more brief because we are a little bit late. We stopped so much on Seville. ICOMOS, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. ICOMOS notes the limited progress that has been made in implementing the recommendations made by the last reactive monitoring mission to the property and from the World Heritage Committee decisions. This limited progress has further exacerbated conditions that have been previously highlighted, for which strong measures are imperative. These measures are pointed out in the SOC report in front of you. The attributes that convey the outstanding universal value of this property reside largely on the safeguarding of the vision as realized in the design and physical and spatial attributes expressed by Lucio Costa in his conception of the Plano Piloto of Brasilia. ICOMOS recognizes the dynamic nature of the city, but considers that change needs to be within the parameters of protection of the conditions of OUV that warranted the inscription on the list. We are willing to support and assist the state party through our scientific national committees and scientific and national committees in reviewing the existing planning tools and mechanisms. We're also willing to help them, assist them in review the development of projects so that adequate solutions can be identified prior to implementation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like that we put the decision with amendments on the screen. Germany, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the decisions as it was amended is very acceptable, and the government has made all the commitments, and I'm very confident that they will continue the dialogue with ICOMOS. So we would support it.
Thank you very much. Somebody else can? Estonia, please, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The problem is that Brasilia is a quickly developing city, and it has grown out of its original Lucio Costa plan limits, and there is a lot of pressure. And everybody who goes there sees that the pressure from developers is very serious. And at the same time, it's easy to detect that the building matters in this city are not too well regulated. So a lot of places there, according to the original Plano Piloto, could be endangered. That's why Estonia supports the strong tone of the draft decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, of original draft decision, you mean? South Africa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of South African delegation, we would like to emphasize few points in support of the proposed amendment by His Excellency from India. Looking at the nature of the problems or challenges as explained by the Center and ICOMOS, they are around issues of governance, they are around issues of coordination. in any setup or in any society, in order to sort out governance issues, you need to consult. Hence, we want to support the proposal, the proposal made by India that the consultation should be allowed to happen. Therefore, in summary, Chair, we would like to support what has been proposed by India in order for the state party to continue fixing all the coordination problems that have been highlighted by the mission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Serbia, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to, we received the amendments on the paper, and I think I think Serbia can endorse them. So we think that the state party actually accorded amendments and what India proposed to the needs of the state party. So the law that is applicable in the state party we have to take care of it as well. So Serbia is endorsing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cambodia.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Cambodia wishes to endorse the proposed amendment by India in view of the commitments and efforts made by the government of Brazil. And we would like to emphasize, as our distinguished delegate from South Africa has just mentioned, that we should allow the consultation to go on. So we don't believe that many of the committee members would object the dialogue to go on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. India.
Madam Chair, I know the pressures on your time. I just feel that we should offer the floor once to Brazil, because they could far more succinctly capture what the issues are.
Thank you very much. Of course, I will give the floor, but I have the last speaker, Colombia. You have the floor.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Colombia acepta la enmienda plenamente y reconoce el trabajo y el compromiso del Estado parte.
Thank you very much. So now I give the floor to Brasilia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I understand that the state party should answer a specific question. I understand that the question would be on the consultation process, if I'm not mistaken. But at the outset, if you allow me, Brazil would like to express its gratitude to the World Heritage Center and to ICOMOS for the joint mission that took place in Brasilia at the beginning of March this year, and for the extensive report that provides relevant guidance for the conservation of this property. Brazil is in agreement with what has been said by the Center, by ICOMOS, and by other delegations this afternoon. It's not in the substance that we see any problem. We actually concur with the view that the preservation plan for Brazilian that is under consultation at the moment has to ensure that the attributes of OUV are sustained and preserved. It's actually on the form that means how to ensure this is that we believe it's a matter of domestic processes. On the consultation, Madam Chair, the local government has informed us that this has been the consultation process with the largest democratic participation in the history of Brasilia. And of course, consultations with society are a legitimate component of the democratic elaboration of an urban plan. They had 23 meetings with society, 23 hearings, besides of plenary meetings, seminars, and informal meetings with residents associations, and so on and so forth. After this consultation process takes place, the draft plan will be taken to the federal authority that will have a say on the plan. After this, a urban planning council made of independent experts will have a say on this plan, and only then this will go to the local parliament. New public hearings will take place, so it's a whole consultation process that, I'm afraid, Madam Chair, cannot be halted at this stage. May I also say, if you allow me, Madam Chair, the besides the local legislation, we have the federal legislation that also protects this property. And in case of differences between these two legislations, it's the most restrictive legislation that will prevail. So what I can guarantee to you, Madam Chair, on the behalf of the State Party of Brazil, is that the attributes of Brasilia that convey the OUV are not threatened. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your very explicit explication. I would ask Estonia, are you satisfied with the explication of Brasilia and what it was expressed by the other member states? So if you agree, we can proceed with adoption.
Yes,
thank you.
we agree.
Thank you very much. So I propose to adopt the whole decision because it was distributed in paper for you. So, I propose that item 36.7b.97 adopted as amended. Adopted. Thank you very much. Now we go to the other item, National History Park, Citadelle Sans Souci, Ramières, Haiti. Point 36.7b.99, document WHC 12/36.com/7b.ed. And now I give the floor to the World Heritage Center. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Secretariat sent a State Party preliminary report on the results obtained from the first survey carried out from the 6th to 22nd March 2012 to identify the emergency interventions at the Citadel. A monitoring system was put in place to record microclimatic changes inside the battery Quadavid and to record movements, all due to the static degradation and indirect impact of the 2010 devastating earthquake. Next slide, please. On 20th June, the State Party received a second technical report which updated monitoring indicators. The dynamic monitoring of some of the monument features that affect the monument showed that every part of the Citadel complex is in movement. Although particular attention was focused on the battery Quadavid due to the evidence of structural damage, the upper level of Princess Battery shows that the building is not stable and is in fact mechanically supported. Next slide, please. This means that the pressure in the north side of the building compresses the corner of the battery, which tends to vertically collapse. Thus, there are two movements at the same time, the collapse of the spur that compresses the inner part of the building and the rotation of the spur to the rest of the building. Next slide, please. Quadavid battery is in dangerous state of conservation due to it being unstable and put at risk the safety of the world monument with evident peril to the visitors of the Citadel. According to the results of the survey, the Haitian authorities have been recommended to halt all tourist visits at the moment to the Citadel without delay until the urgent safety measures can be implemented to ensure secure conditions for visits. Next slide, please. The Secretariat received a letter of the Ministry of Public Works on May 2011, confirming that the State Party is not considering building a national road inside the limits of the property. The decision has been amended by the Secretariat in consultation with the ICOMOS. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and ICOMOS would like to take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. ICOMOS, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We note the continuing issues for this property arising from the consequences of the severe earthquake in January 2010, and we commend the State Party for establishing the monitoring system and providing the associated technical reports concerning the issues affecting the condition of the property. These reports have shown, as my colleague said before, that the structural issues pose serious dangers to elements of the properties and to visitors. ICOMOS understands the economic difficulties of the State Party and the desire to enhance tourism opportunities. At this time, it is therefore important to ensure that tourism is not prioritized over conservation, since these two must be advanced together in order to achieve sustainable outcomes for the property and for the communities concerned. ICOMOS will continue to offer its assistance to the State Party, as we have in the past, in the efforts towards a sustained short, medium, and long-term actions that will require to continue to assist Haiti in the recovery, identification, and protection of the wealth of heritage in its country. Finally, ICOMOS considers that these issues are of such urgency and seriousness that the committee might wish to consider inscribing this property in the list of World Heritage Danger at its next session, if significant progress is not achieved, in order to enhance the possibilities of cooperation and our ability to mobilize resources to support the efforts of the State Party. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Colombia, please take the floor.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Queremos felicitar al Estado parte por todos los esfuerzos que reforzamos el hecho que ellos deben seguir pensando primero en la conservación que en otros aspectos, pero queremos felicitarlo por todos sus esfuerzos y por todo lo que han hecho después de la tragedia natural que tuvieron que sufrir. En el punto 11 del draft, la Secretaría pide que haya un apoyo internacional. Colombia quisiera ofrecer al Estado parte asistencia técnica con nuestra Estrategia Caribe. Queremos apoyarlos para que podamos trabajar juntos y desarrollar un plan. Gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you very much. It's a very generous decision. Who else wants to take the floor? If nobody wants to take the floor, so we can directly go to the resolution. France, please.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. La France tient aussi à féliciter l'État partie et peut-être à ajouter que notre pays est très présent aux côtés d'Haïti pour affronter la situation. Mais justement, Haïti affronte une situation très difficile et nous trouvions que le rapport était un peu menaçant et il nous semblait assez peu réaliste, au fond, de demander que les mesures de sauvegarde soient prises entre août et novembre 2012. Nous suggérons un délai un peu plus long si c'est possible. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much. So, nobody else wants to take the floor before we move on to the decision? We received some amendments to this decision. Please, reporter, tell us.
Yes, Madam Chairperson. In fact, these are proposals of the Secretariat of World Heritage Center and ICOMOS based on the information provided by Mrs. Nuria Sanz regarding the unstable structure of Citadel and on the unsecured conditions for visitors. So they are basically proposing two new paragraphs, which will become paragraph 10 and 11, reflecting these concerns, Madam Chairperson.
So we add to the draft decision, which you have in your book, so two other paragraphs. Further takes note, paragraph 10, further take note of the recent results obtained from the survey concerning the structural stabilization of the Citadel and urges the State Party to take all measures to start the emergency actions in collaboration with technical and financial institutions to ensure the integrity of the fortified structures. And 11, further requests the State Party to halt all touristical visits to the Citadel without delay until urgent security measures can be implemented to ensure secure conditions for visits. Are there anybody against these proposals? I see none. So I suppose that we can adopt these two paragraphs, and now we move to adoption of the whole decision. Decision number 36, com 7b.99 is adopted as amended. Thank you very much. And now we move on to the other item. It's fortifications on the Caribbean side of Panama, Portobello San Lorenzo, Panama.
Thank you
It's
very
36.7b.102, document WHC 12/36.com/7b. Now I give the floor to the representative of World Heritage Center.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I would like to intervene to include a new information received since the report has been produced. On the 20th of May, the World Heritage Center received a new report from the State Party. The documentation dated May 2011 and January 2012 and was not included in the National Report of the State of Conservation. The report informed a proposal for future intervention of the most affected parts of the fortified structures and the cases in a very severe deterioration, as you can see in the pictures. Due to the very poor state of conservation and its degradation, which has been going for more than 15 years, the proposed intervention should include systems to prop up the walls artificially and to reinforce the platform of the batteries with materials like reinforced concrete, sometimes against to the standard of the integrated conservation. The study proposed interventions without data from archaeological surveys or without having analyzed the original mortars. The repair work deals with the consequences of the degradation, but not with the causes. The draft decision is not amended. Draft decision 7B-102 is in the English version pages 173, 74, and 75, and in the French version 183, 84, and 85. ICOMOS wants to make some comment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
ICOMOS, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the past 10 years, ICOMOS has expressed its serious concern about the state of this property. The information received today does not show any significant progress in addressing the considerable decay of the historic fabric. Although some measures have been implemented, as noted in the State of Conservation report presented to the committee, management arrangements and measures to control urban expansion, encroachment, and the state of conservation of the fabric are not adequate to deal with the existing conditions, which have been pointed out as threats in previous occasions and which have impacted on the attributes that sustain the outstanding universal value. The committee might wish to recall the adoption of measures at its 35th session that were to be implemented before March of 2012, which included the development of an emergency plan, securing operational management arrangements and budget, controlling encroachments and urban pressure, and undertaking reforestation. ICOMOS notes that although proposals for intervention have been submitted, as my colleague noted before me, these do not comprehensively address the situation. Many of the proposed actions have remained at planning stages, and no time frame has been provided for effective implementation. The rate and extent of deterioration constitutes an ascertained danger to the property and will require sustained actions to reverse. Therefore, ICOMOS recommends that the property is inscribed on the list of World Heritage in danger to ensure that the significant threats that exist today are comprehensively and sustainably addressed. Also, the list would be inscribing the property in the list of the in danger would be the measure to garner the necessary support at the international, national, and local level so we can provide the required assistance for the conservation of this property. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. So I would like to open the discussion. Are there any opinions? I have none, so we can go straight to the decision, as I understand. You all read the decision, so we have no amendments to this decision. So can you consider that your silence means that we agree with the decision? Yes. So can we consider that we adopt this decision? Serbia, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've just seen the table. Maybe we should give the floor for some further explication to the State Party.
Thank you very much. Of course, State Party. So, State Party, take the floor, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair. We want to take this opportunity as the first time that we take the floor to thank the government of the Federation of the Russian Federation, as well as yourself, for your eloquence and the efficiency that you have taken, have proceeded with these sessions in the past couple of days. At the same time, the State Party agrees with the recommendations made by the World Heritage Committee and the advisory bodies to put the fortresses in the Caribbean, Portobelo and San Lorenzo, in the danger list with much regret. But we have to point out that the government has made in the last 2 years efforts to preserve and conserve and to create a management plan for these properties. Unfortunately, a fact that was not mentioned and that is very important is that we had in 2011 major rains and major natural forces that caused mudslides, the loss of lives, and great damage to the fortress, particularly of Portobelo, and some to San Lorenzo. So we greatly accept the recommendations made by the World Heritage Center and ICOMOS to regretfully put the sites in the danger list. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So it's great generosity, I would say, understanding of, and I hope that you will work very closely with ICOMOS and the experts of different countries, which list of danger permits to do it easily. So I return to the question. So I see no objection to adopt the decision 36.7b.102. I see no objections. Adopted. Colombia, yes, please, you have the floor.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Simplemente ya después de adoptada la decisión, la cual Panamá aceptó con muchísima dignidad, quisiera simplemente decir unas palabras. Nuestros vínculos históricos entre Colombia y Panamá son conocidos por todos. Asimismo, los vínculos entre nuestras fortificaciones en el puerto de Cartagena y las fortificaciones de San Lorenzo y Portobelo permiten entender plenamente la geoestrategia española de defensa desarrollada en América. Por tal motivo, ofrecemos nuestra cooperación técnica a Panamá para que puedan trabajar y salir de esta lista. Gracias.
Thank you very much. So now we move to the other item, archaeological site of Panama Viejo, a historic district of Panama. So it's resolution 36.7b.103. You see the document WHC 12/36.com/7b.add. And now I would like to give the floor to the representative of World Heritage Center.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The peninsula that you can see in the picture is the original setting of the historic district of one of the components of the property. As the members of the committee recall, the State Party last year submitted 3 alternatives to the building of a vial infrastructure: a tunnel, a peripheral highway along the peninsula, and a viaduct. This viaduct is the last proposal of the committee that has been developed since July 2011. The National Report of the State of Conservation declared that the viaduct was reformulated, and the State Party stated that only the viaduct proposal has been submitted for evaluation. The State Party submitted 2 options, option A and option B, which in fact is a mixed proposal with 2 platforms and a viaduct around the peninsula and additional platform for institutional purposes. On 16th of April, the World Heritage Center received new information from the State Party concerning the submission of the buffer zone of the historic district. The information did not follow the official standards required in terms of cartography and the format for a minor boundary modification. On the 15th of May 2012, a third version of a mixed alternative platform and the maritime viaduct was submitted. The third option includes a reduction of the site of the island in front of the presidential palace, a car park in the immediate proximity of the government palace, as well as structures for institutional purposes and a modification of the distance between the viaduct and the peninsula in part of its trajectory. The State Party also informed that 66 historic buildings are en risk of collapse. In the slides, you can see that part of the construction of the platform had been already started. A letter was received on the 14th June contesting the report and the draft decision presented to the members of the committee. The other two options, the tunnel and the continental itinerary, are not considered. The draft decision is in the English version in pages 209 and 10, and in the French version in 224 and 225. ICOMOS would like to make some comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. ICOMOS, please. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The state of conservation of this property was examined by the World Heritage Committee in the past 4 sessions. The current situation is summarized to you in the State of Conservation report. ICOMOS notes that limited progress has been achieved in addressing previous threats that affect the attributes of the property. Effective management arrangements, enforcement of regulations, the decay of historic fabric, and speculation constitute issues that remain unresolved. Regarding the water viaduct for the Phase 3 of the Cinta Costera project, ICOMOS has reviewed the submitted documentation. The viaduct would encircle, as was pointed out, the coastline, which has been the edge of the historic district since its foundation. This would alter its viewsheds and irreversibly compromise the conditions of integrity and authenticity. The historic relationship of the historic center with the sea would be lost, and there would be radical transformations of the natural seascape, both attributes of this property, which differentiate it from others in the region. The artificial island of San Felipe in front of the government palace would also entail a radical visual transformation of the historic seascape and of all the views to and from the historic center. These impacts are also recognized in the heritage impact assessment that has been carried out. ICOMOS wishes to recall the outstanding universal value of the property with reference to the historic district component, which emphasizes its setting in the peninsula, encircled by a fortified precinct. It differentiates it in comparison with Panama Viejo. The historic city represents an exceptional testimony of the nature of early settlements with a layout and an urban design that has been maintained until today. As in the case of outstanding maritime facades, like the archaeological site of Panama Viejo, Colonia Sacramento, and other World Heritage properties, an appropriate maritime buffer zone should be considered to protect the values of the property and associated important view sheds. Consequently, we recommend inscribing the property in the list of World Heritage in danger as an important and urgent call for action to address the significant threats to the outstanding universal value of the property. If these remain unaddressed, and should the maritime viaduct be approved, the values of the property would be irreversibly compromised, and the committee might consider delisting this property from the World Heritage list. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So floor is open. Please raise your name plates if somebody wants to take the floor. Russian Federation, floor is yours.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Обсуждение по пункту 7б, ком 103.
Я очень извиняюсь. Говорите только не быстро.
Да, хорошо. Обсуждение по пункту 7б, ком 103 о состоянии сохранности археологического объекта и исторического центра Панама Вьеха было предложено не нами, однако Россия, как член комитета, поддерживает это предложение. Напомним, что перед нами старейшее поселение европейцев на Тихоокеанском побережье Америки и наиболее древний археологический объект, связанный с европейскими поселениями на американском континенте. Надо признать, что это действительно весьма непростой объект со сложным переплетением проблем. И, похоже, мы имеем дело как раз с тем случаем, когда, в отличие от предыдущего пункта, нет такого взаимопонимания с ИКОМОС и странам-членам. страной-членом. В заключении, в частности, на отчет о состоянии сохранности объекта перечислен ряд причин, на основании которых консультативные органы предлагают включить Панаму-Вьеха в список объектов под угрозой с перспективой полного исключения из числа памятников ЮНЕСКО. Вместе с тем, мы считали бы, что в ходе комитета необходимо еще раз прислушаться к аргументам самой Панамы, переданным в виде письма о фактических ошибках. В частности, речь идет о том, и это главное, что в отличие от предположения, изложенного в заключении, работы по сооружению надводного виадука, или иначе говоря, морского виадука, пока не начались. Мало того, правительство Панамы, как об этом было заявлено на предыдущих сессиях КВН, сохраняет свое обязательство не приступать к работам до вынесения комитетом соответствующего решения. Изложены аргументы практически по всем замечаниям. Я не буду тратить ни время, ни усилия, не буду соблюдать другие важные, так сказать, в данном случае условия. Не буду перечислять все, но по всем разъяснениям государства-члена есть все разъяснения по существу всех замечаний. К тому же при принятии решения надо учесть, что последняя миссия реагирующего мониторинга в Панаму состоялась в октябре 2010 года. Насколько нам известно, все упомянутые аргументы могут быть подтверждены Панамой документально, включая отсутствие строительства виадука. Мы считаем необходимым таким образом необходимым обратить внимание членов комитета на представленные аргументы страной-членом и предлагаем проект новой редакции резолюции, она внесена в секретариат, значит, без предложения о внесении Панама-Вьеха в список под угрозой и последующего исключения из списка всемирного наследия. В связи с изложенным считаем, что у членов комитета могут возникнуть вопросы по сути проблемы, а также вопросы к стране-члену. Благодарим за внимание.
Japan, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to raise one question about procedure itself. I understand that 2 years ago, the active monitoring mission rejected the plan of building a tunnel underground, which is proposed by Panama state member. The Panama prepared, after that, the alternative plan that is in front of us to build a long viaduct causeway out of the buffer zone. Now, I understand the draft decision is suggesting a tunnel once more as an alternative choice. I'm afraid this kind of inconsistency could cause frustration or resentment, and of course, waste of time and money. So I'd like to ask ICMOS and the State Party for clarification in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mexico, floor is yours.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Hemos estudiado con mucha atención este caso, no solo por tratarse de un país con el cual México tiene una relación histórica y geográfica, sino también porque hemos visto con mucha curiosidad algunas inconsistencias entre lo que se plantea en el informe y en el proyecto de decisión y los argumentos esgrimidos por el Estado parte. Particularmente, el proyecto de decisión tiene alusiones constantes a un proyecto de construcción que el Estado parte ha argumentado que todavía no ha empezado a construirse. Asimismo, da por hecho ciertos hechos, como por ejemplo, que el Estado parte no ha cumplido con una serie de requerimientos. En este sentido, creemos que el proyecto de decisión, como está redactado en este momento, se precipita en pedir una serie de circunstancias que no están siendo comparables con la información con la que contamos y con la que el Estado parte brindó. Por eso, en este momento, antes de continuar el debate, quisiera pedirle por su medio al Estado parte que nos aclare si la construcción en cuestión, los trabajos han empezado o no, y si puede brindar mayor información sobre el impacto que estos tendrían si se empezaran a construir. Muchas gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you very much. Colombia, floor is yours.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Efectivamente, quiero hacer eco a las palabras del embajador de Japón y la representante de México. Leyendo el dossier, el expediente y oyendo las explicaciones y la presentación del centro y de ICOMOS, igualmente encontramos inconsistencias, entonces obviamente quisiéramos oír del Estado parte para que nos pudiera aclarar un poco cuál es la situación, puesto que el reporte dice que el proyecto está en construcción, nos han dado información que esto no es el caso, igualmente quisiéramos saber un poco más cuál ha sido el proceso, un proceso que aparentemente es muy confuso en cuanto a los proyectos que se han presentado. Han sido 5 o 4 proyectos que se han presentado, se han dicho que no por un lado, por el otro, por distintas razones. El hecho es que tenemos que ayudar a Panamá a resolver su problema de tráfico. El centro histórico está sofocado, se están ahogando en tráfico, en contaminación, en problemas que necesitan resolver esto. Y yo creo que tenemos que tener mucha seriedad cuando un Estado gasta muchísimo dinero, esfuerzo, recursos en presentar proyectos y se les dice que no, pero no se les dan otras opciones. Quisiera oír cuál es la posición del Estado y quisiera también oír la posición de ICOMOS en este sentido para ver qué es lo que está pasando, para ver si podemos resolver esto y que el país pueda resolver sus problemas. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Mali, then to France, and then I would give floor to Panama to make... please, who wants to take the floor? All, please raise your nameplates to understand who wants else to take the floor. Germany, Algeria, India. France.
Merci.
So, France, you have the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Moi, j'aurais voulu poser la question à l'État partie. Quel est l'impact positif de ces travaux sur la vieille ville de Panama? Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much. Mali, please, floor is yours.
Oui, merci, Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais aussi poser une question à l'État partie. C'est de savoir s'il y a un plan de gestion de conservation de ces sites-là et quel degré de mise en œuvre de ce plan, parce que c'est un plan de développement urbain qui est posé. Merci.
Thank you very much. I would like the state party fix all the questions to answer once after everybody, all members of the committee express themselves. Germany, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to know what is speaking against the tunnel.
Excuse me, repeat the question.
Okay, we like to know how are elaborated alternatives, for instance, a tunnel or something like that.
Algeria, floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Donc l'Algérie épouse le même point de vue que la Colombie, le Mexique et la France pour écouter l'État partie. Merci.
Thank you very much. South Africa, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of South African delegation, perhaps we are aligning ourselves with other state parties who want more clarity. Because, Chair, it is our understanding that construction has not yet started, and then the state party considered alternatives that are available at their disposal. And also the ease of the coastline that was never considered as a feature when the site was inscribed. Therefore, Chair, like other parties, we just want clarity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Serbia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to ask State Party to clarify the situation about the buffer zones, and then to tell us whether it's possible to have, with that viaduct, maybe another visual approach to the old city of Panama. Thank you.
Thank you very much. India, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we've given the State Party a lot of work. Many of the questions have been covered. May I suggest that we ask the State Party, and then I will come back. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much. So, State Party, floor is yours. And try to answer all questions which members of the committee posed to you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, let me put into perspective some points that, in order point of order. The state of preservation of the building of the historic district is the main concern of the bill, 6411, which create the financial incentives in order to refurbish and restore Panama City Historic District. The intrinsic attributes that led the official registration of the monumental site of Historic District of Panama were under criteria 2, 4, and 6 in the World Heritage List are strictly respected. You have made several questions, and I would like to express a little more of some of the explanation that we have to do, but I'll go for the answers, and then we can come back. Mr. Ambassador of Japan, regarding the tunnel. In 2010, as you recall, as you mentioned, there was a monitoring meeting in Panama that studied, along with Panama, two alternatives, a surface and a tunnel. Both were discarded. The tunnel was considered that it did irreversible damage to the areas. And we went then, we started to work on the third option, which was the C option, and then we provided to ICOMOS and to the UNESCO's all the information that we had on the third option on time on January. Then on June, then we came with the answers that, well, why don't we go back again to something that we decided that shouldn't be done 2 years ago. And that's one of the problems that we have, because there is inconsistency in the evaluations that are being done. Regarding the plan of gestions, I'll leave my colleague to do explanation. Plan de gestión.
State Party, you will answer the question, or it's...
Let me, regarding the, because you made several questions, so I'm trying to, the master plan. Panama has in place a master plan that's over a decade old that we need to improve, but we have been working consistently on it, and I'm sorry, and the documents, the way that we work the Casco Viejo, the historic district. You're not getting the translator? Because I can see somebody's moving their ear. Are you getting the translation? Yes. We do have a management plan that is concise and that we've been using for the development and of El Casco Viejo completely on time. Also, Algeria asked about clarification of the buffer zone. Buffer zone was put inside in 2004 by law in Panama. And we also reported that to UNESCO. UNESCO advised us some changes, and those changes are yet to be done. But the buffer zone, it's created by decree and law in Panama. What amazed us in the draft report sent in June 1st is that it says that there was no buffer zone at all. And it would have been much better for the committees to know that the wording should have been said, Panama has a buffer zone, it has tried to register. It's still on doing some items. But the point is that we do have a buffer zone that is being respected in Panama by law.
Sí, también como para agregar, para darle respuesta técnica al país de Japón en cuanto a por qué efectivamente no se decidió, que coincide con nuestro informe como Panamá, por qué la negativa a que el túnel no se construyera. Primero que nada, esto coincide con el informe del 2010 presentado por ICOMOS y también con los estudios de impacto que causaría esta opción, como lo son la implicación de riesgos de impactos patrimoniales en el conjunto monumental del casco antiguo, la identificación de riesgos para la seguridad pública y vial, la posibilidad de inundaciones generadas por altas precipitaciones usuales en mi ciudad, la capacidad vial limitada al disponer solamente de 2 carriles en cada sentido, rampas muy acentuadas de entrada y salida a más de 200 metros, lo que crearía cicatrices profundas en el distrito histórico. Importantes afectaciones, expropiaciones a propiedades públicas y privadas, exigencia de evacuaciones y ventilación a lo largo de su recorrido, lo que crearía edificaciones no acordes con el distrito histórico y también un alto costo de mantenimiento de la infraestructura. Estos fueron los aspectos técnicos, físicos más relevantes por los cuales nosotros coincidimos con el Centro de Patrimonio Mundial en su informe del 2010 en la misión realizada, del 27 al 31 de octubre. Para aclarar los aspectos técnicos de esta opción, ya que ha sido mencionada en diferentes observaciones.
I also would like to answer another question that I believe was presented by Germany, and it's with regard to the benefits that they believe that the project will bring to the historic district, if I'm correct. And I will answer it in Spanish. El casco antiguo se encuentra sofocado y colapsado. Eliminar la congestión es vital para su desarrollo integral y sostenible. Tenemos un proyecto que es un instrumento liberador y renovador que preserva su integridad y su autenticidad. Con este proyecto vamos a poder lograr que se convierta en un centro de peatones, eliminar la contaminación, el ruido, dotarlo de aparcamiento de vehículos y autobuses y de esta manera tener un turismo creciente y sostenible, incentivando la inserción social, evitando la polarización y gentrificación del sitio que actualmente le da la espalda a la ciudad.
Thank you very much. So now I give the floor to the representative of India. India, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I listened to the clarifications, I listened to the questions, I listened to the presentations of the World Heritage Center and ICOMOS. And all of it was pointing to the fact of a heritage site, of people who live within and around it, and who are entitled to the benefits, as we should say, of development, of access, of equity. Access is an important part of what we are looking at. I didn't see the justification for the inscription on the list of danger. I did notice a lack of communication between the missions or the perceptions of the missions and the government, something that I believe could have been reconciled with dialogue, with an approach that could have been done some time ago. The issue of visual integrity, again, it comes to dog us. It haunts us, because here is an inward-looking fort, as far as I can see. It's a historic fort, but we are talking about something that is facing out on the ocean. How far, and in what way do you define the visual requirements, the integrity of the visual aspects of the site? And again, this is a question to which, at this point of time, I believe we have only arbitrary answers, because we do not have, at this point of time, well-developed guidelines or perspectives on this. So I'm a little unclear. I mean, firstly, the list of danger to me doesn't come through, meaning the fact that it should go. Of course, it's a site which has suffered degradation. Of course, it's a site that is vulnerable to the pressures of development, of the requirements of development. But these are challenges to be confronted. The second part of it, which is obviously the how are these challenges to be confronted, is what I believe the entire debate is about. So I would appreciate some clarification on this. And there are far too many issues in here, and I would have thought that at least over this process, over this period of time, that many of these would have been addressed in a consultative manner. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to give the floor to ICOMOS to clarify some points. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As for the points raised by the several honorable representatives, the 2010 reactive monitoring mission, I'm sorry, I was struggling with my headphone. The 2010 reactive monitoring mission did not in fact reject the tunnel. The mission mentioned that we would be willing to evaluate the project. It noted the potential impacts it could have if measures were not implemented to mitigate them. We noted also, and we expressed our willingness to evaluate the projects in their entirety in collaboration with the construction company, the Ministry of Public Works, and of course the Panamanian Authority. Subsequently, we've also expressed our interest and our willingness to assist the state party in assessing all the options available. Several missions were foreseen for last year, which were canceled, one for September and one for November 2011. It should be noted the missions, the assistance and advisory missions were canceled by the state party. Now, in terms of the impacts, which I think is, which ICOMOS believes is at the core of the discussion, we can ascertain several impacts, not only for this development, but impacts that have also been raised in previous committee sessions. There are the impacts on the conditions of authenticity that pertain to the urban layout and the original form. These currently are preserved, but they would be impacted by the proposed development. The volumetry of the location and the setting would also be impacted. In terms of integrity, there would be an erosion of the limits which clearly exist today, and the borders and the edges, as I noted before, between the built heritage and the small peninsula, which is an intrinsic part of the selection of this area for putting in the property. ICOMOS would also like to highlight that it is not only the proposed construction of the viaduct that has been a matter of concern and expressed as a matter of concern to the committee in the past sessions. It is also the question of the state of conservation of the built fabric. The 2009 and 2010 missions to the property reiterated and ascertained the conditions that were also pointed out by my colleague in the presentation of the state of conservation of many of the historic buildings in the property, which would constitute an ascertained danger to the property. We also consider that the setting in this case, the distinctive relationship that exists between the architecture...
Excuse me, it seems to me that you repeat what you said.
Yes, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I just wanted to reiterate that final point of the view sheds and the setting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mexico, take the floor.
Le agradezco mucho, señora presidenta, que me dé la palabra por segunda vez, sí, porque mi delegación hizo una pregunta muy específica que para nosotros es crucial para poder abordar el contenido del informe y eventualmente el proyecto de decisión, que es, en este informe se da por hecho que los trabajos han empezado sin haber tomado en consideración las recomendaciones, por ejemplo, de ICOMOS que acabamos de ver. Yo quisiera volver a preguntar al el estado de progreso de los trabajos, si los trabajos han avanzado o han empezado o no, porque de esto dependen muchas frases incluso del proyecto de decisión y no se contestó esta pregunta en la primera ronda. Muchas gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you very much, Mali. Mali, the floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je vais aussi reposer ma question, mais cette fois-ci à l'ICOMOS, ou même au Centre du patrimoine mondial. Est-ce que ce site a un plan de gestion? Si oui, quel est le degré de mise en œuvre de ce plan-là? Merci.
Thank you very much, Russian Federation.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. Я также хотел бы присоединиться к вопросу Мексики, потому что, собственно, в этом и был смысл подготовленного документа. Спасибо.
Thank you very much. So now I give the floor for clarification to State Party. Please take the floor.
Sí, gracias, señora presidenta. Para responder la pregunta contundentemente, el Estado parte no ha empezado la obra de interconexión conforme a lo acordado en el comité de la 35ª reunión 2011. Hay 2 obras en el litoral panameño, 2 parques alejados independientemente de esta obra, que son para dotar espacios públicos, al cual tenemos derecho como país y a la sociedad. Panamá ha respetado íntegramente la Convención de Patrimonio Mundial y realiza grandes, pero inmensos esfuerzos para preservar sus sitios. Eso por un lado. Y para ampliar un poco más la pregunta del país de la India en cuanto a la visual, con el impacto visual al tema que está muy reseñado en la decisión, y le podemos indicar que el casco antiguo de la ciudad de Panamá es un ejemplo singular de relación visual que implica diferentes episodios históricos, primero que nada, que son los de San Felipe. Ha sido testigo a lo largo de 300 años. Primero fue la construcción del canal en el siglo XIX, y luego con esto se trajo a la calzada Amador, llamado el Causeway, que es un viaducto marino que enlaza una serie de islas que es el fondo visual de toda la vista del casco sur, de la parte sur del centro histórico. Luego vendría lo del siglo XX y su pujanza económica que levanta el skyline de rascacielos, que es la vista que el casco antiguo tiene por norte. En estos escenarios, la cinta costera o el proyecto no es obstáculo visual ni alteración paisajística notable, por decirlo. Al este, también el mar abierto es visible solo desde 2 puntos significativos de la ciudad: las bóvedas y la plaza frente al Teatro Nacional. Desde allí, la cinta costera transcurre a más de 300 metros de distancia con su plano superior siempre por debajo de la cota de la muralla y, por lo tanto, inferior a los ojos de un observador. ¿Qué facilita esto? Facilita un descubrimiento inédito de la vista desde un mar que cambia su paisaje cada 6 horas, mostrando 2 imágenes completamente diferentes. Panamá Viejo, Casco Antiguo, El Canal y Ciudad Contemporánea son los 4 episodios esenciales de 500 años de historia. La cinta costera no los menoscaba en absoluto, sino que construye un diálogo positivo entre ellos. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Senegal, floor is yours.
Madame la Présidente, j'aurais voulu poser ma question avant que l'État partie ne réponde, mais je peux toujours poser la question. Et elle a parlé tout à l'heure de l'impact visuel sur le bien. Moi, la question que je voudrais poser est de savoir si, à partir du viaduc, il y aurait des possibilités de scrutation de la vieille ville, donc une opportunité qu'on n'aurait pas si le viaduc n'existait pas. Et si tel était le cas, ça pourrait être, de mon humble point de vue, un impact quand même positif. Merci.
Thank you very much. Is the question to whom? State Party.
La question s'adresse à l'État parti.
Gracias. Sí, en efecto, consideramos, yo creo que es importante, antes que continuemos, que todos los aquí presentes estén conscientes del hecho de que esta denominación está constituida por 2 sitios diferentes. ¿Okay? Uno es el sitio arqueológico de Panamá Viejo, el cual es un sitio muerto, una ciudad muerta, una ciudad no viva. Es un parque arqueológico exclusivamente. El distrito histórico es una ciudad viva. Una ciudad que requiere de un turismo sostenible y que requiere de una economía activa y en la cual consideramos que le hemos dado, por casualmente, al haberse destruido la ciudad de Panamá Viejo en el siglo XVI, se procedió a construir y trasladar la ciudad nueva al distrito histórico actual. Casualmente, por su posición estratégica, la cual le daba la espalda al mar. Adicionalmente, se construyó una muralla y la mayoría de las estructuras actualmente que existen dentro del casco antiguo le dan la espalda al mar. No nos parece correcto que en este momento que los 3 criterios bajo los cuales este sitio fue inscrito, el criterio 2, 4 y 6, que te hablan de la traza urbana única que tiene la ciudad. La 4 que habla de las edificaciones y de su arquitectura. Y la 6 que se refiere al Salón Bolívar, la cual con mucho orgullo conservamos de una manera extraordinaria. No se ven afectados en ninguna forma por este proyecto. Por consiguiente, consideramos injusto que se nos esté juzgando sobre unos criterios que no existieron ni en el dossier original bajo el cual este sitio fue declarado Patrimonio de la Humanidad, y adicionalmente traer ahora a colación el pasaje urbano nos parece injusto y no nos parece que tiene nada que ver con los criterios bajo los cuales el sitio fue inscrito. Por consiguiente, les agradeceríamos que tomaran eso en consideración y adicionalmente, para contestar la pregunta original, tenemos que decir que la construcción de este viaducto no solamente va a poner en valor el sitio histórico, sino que por primera vez en la historia tendremos una perspectiva diferente de la cual podremos apreciar el sitio histórico no solamente en carros, sino también caminando, y creemos que de esta manera podremos darle un nuevo valor para que las personas en nuestro país, al igual que los extranjeros que nos visiten, puedan apreciar desde una perspectiva diferente la ciudad y de esta manera ayudarnos a preservar su valor histórico. Gracias.
Thank you very much. So, Germany, please take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just 2 remarks before I start. First of all, we changed the operational guidelines. The changed rules of the operational guidelines, as we were informed by the World Heritage Committee, provide that the party concerned can speak once at the end of the debate. And they have, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. So here I hear the party speaking and campaigning 4 times, 5 times, more than 3 minutes, and not at the end, but in the middle of the debate. I would like to hear ICOMOS opinion on the visual and acoustic impact, and I would like to hand over, with your permission, during my last seconds remaining, to my expert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are celebrating the 40th anniversary of the World Heritage Convention, and I think in this year we should be very carefully how we deal with our heritage and how we hand it over to the future generations, which is our duty. Seeing these projects, I cannot imagine that this project has no impact on the World Heritage Site of Panama. I'm wondering why there's enough money to build such an infrastructure and there's no money to enhance the historic fabric and the ecological sites of Panama. Therefore, I remind my colleagues of the World Heritage Committee that we use the instrument of the list of heritage in danger to give us one more year to consider what is going on this side. I think I'm convinced this will have an impact that we should consider, and we should consider the impacts of this infrastructure for the future generations as well as for the heritage.
Thank you very much. Concerning the operational guidelines, I would like to remind you that several times I ask you to raise your nameplates, but every time I give the floor, then some countries want to express themselves. So if we would be more disciplined, I would not give several times, possibility to give the state party. Algeria, please take the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais tout d'abord remercier le Centre du patrimoine mondial, l'ICOMOS et l'État partie pour les explications qu'ils nous ont données, qui nous permettent d'avoir un point de vue sur ce projet. Je me limiterai donc dans mon intervention à ce projet. Madame la Présidente, nous sommes en présence d'un deuxième cas de figure en matière de perspective visuelle. Le cas présent est très intéressant. Il nous permet d'aborder la question sous un angle plutôt positif, celui de l'éventuelle conciliation entre les impératifs de la préservation et les nouvelles exigences de développement. Essayons d'envisager cette option en invitant l'État partie et l'ICOMOS à entreprendre un dialogue en vue d'intégrer la dimension valorisation comme l'un des indicateurs d'évaluation en matière d'impact visuel. L'Algérie souhaiterait qu'il soit accordé à Panama un délai raisonnable pour proposer à l'ICOMOS ou en collaboration avec l'ICOMOS un projet revisité qui aurait pour effet d'être un élément de valorisation structurant au profit du site archéologique Viego et du district historique de Panama. C'est là un défi pour Panama et les organisations consultatives, comme vient de le souligner le délégué de l'Inde. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Switzerland, the floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je vous avoue que je suis très étonné de notre discussion de cet après-midi. Dans le cadre, tout à l'heure, Madame la Présidente, de l'examen de la Tour de Séville, la délégation de Colombie, d'autres délégations, nous ont dit, peut-être à juste titre, que nous devions être logiques avec nous-mêmes et qu'on ne pouvait pas arrêter une construction faite. Or, dans le cas que nous examinons actuellement, et c'est vraiment à souligner, Madame la Présidente, les travaux n'en sont ici qu'à leur début, puisque les éléments liant les deux bords n'ont pas encore été construits. Le Panama nous a dit, et cela l'honore énormément, qu'il n'avait pas entrepris les travaux pour attendre la résolution du comité. Le comité n'est donc, dans ce cas, contrairement au cas d'avant que j'ai cité, pas placé devant un fait accompli. J'aimerais remercier le Panama, car il honore ainsi pleinement, de mon avis, les obligations qui découlent de la Convention et de son esprit. Ayant entendu et apprécié à leur juste valeur toutes les explications antérieures des autres membres du comité, de l'ICOMOS et bien entendu les réponses apportées par l'État partie, nous sommes de l'avis qu'il faut suivre la proposition de résolution qui nous est soumise. En effet, Madame la Présidente, je me demande si l'on refuse l'inscription de Séville sous prétexte que la tour a été construite, celle du Casco Viejo, parce qu'elle ne se justifie pas à ce stade, oui, Madame la Présidente, je me demande quel type d'impact négatif il faut avoir pour qu'un objet soit inscrit sur la liste en péril. Il y va à nouveau, et je conclurai par là, Madame la Présidente, de notre crédibilité. La décision est réfléchie, elle n'est pas précipitée, et c'est maintenant que l'on peut encore influer sur l'impact négatif prévisible que risque d'avoir la construction de cette autoroute de contournement. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. So I suppose the discussion for the moment is over. You expressed your opinion, so we can now move to the resolution. So you have the draft resolution with amendments distributed to you.
It's being distributed.
It is distributed on paper to have the whole resolution.
Good afternoon. Just to check if all the representatives have the copy so that we can start going paragraph by paragraph in order to get some momentum. I see Switzerland is waving the hand, looking for a copy.
We have not the copy, Mr. Chairman.
I will hand over to a rapporteur to take us through the draft decision. Rapporteur, we have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The text that has been presented to you contains the proposed amendments to several paragraphs of this Decision 103 presented by the Russian Federation. The first two paragraphs, Mr. Chairman, have no proposed amendments, so you may want to approve them.
Any comments on paragraph 1 and 2? I see no interventions. Paragraph 1 and 2 adopted. Rapporteur, paragraph 3, you have the floor.
Paragraph 3. The proposed amendment includes the deletion of the last sentence and the impacts related to the Cinta Costera project. It's for deletion.
I see Switzerland. Switzerland, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Nous ne pouvons pas accepter d'enlever cette partie de la phrase parce que c'est effectivement le point le plus central de toutes nos discussions. Il a sans doute un impact. Ici, dans la décision, on ne parle même pas d'impact négatif qui, selon nous, est aussi évident. Donc, il faut absolument que cette phrase reste dans la décision telle qu'elle a été proposée. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Switzerland. I see Germany. Germany, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is a complex issue, and we support Switzerland. We like to have the deleted words in the, as it stands in the original decision.
Thank you, Germany. I see France. France, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je suis quand même assez gêné par le mot « processus d'embourgeoisement ». Je me demande de quel droit on se permet de juger ce phénomène sociologique. Je vous remercie.
Can I give the floor to ECOMOS to clarify gentrification? ECOMOS, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. In this case, gentrification refers to the substitution of the local communities by speculation processes and the changing of the nature of the historic center in itself. It's a term that we commonly use to note issues pertaining to changes in the spirit of historic centers. Thank you.
Can I check if this is a good French translation? Any concerns? France, I want to give you the floor. You have the floor.
Ce terme ne rentre absolument pas dans les termes de la Convention, dans les buts de la Convention.
Thank you, France. Mexico, you have the floor.
Gracias, señor presidente. Quisiera apoyar la enmienda propuesta por la Federación Rusa. En este caso, hemos escuchado que el proyecto Cinta Costera todavía no tiene lugar. Entonces, me parece un poco raro hacer un juicio en este párrafo sobre el impacto y tiene relación con otros párrafos que seguirán. En el mismo sentido, quisiera apoyar la propuesta de encontrar una mejor formulación de la frase que precede a esta que estamos enmendando, dado que tiene un alto grado de subjetividad que no tiene relación con otras resoluciones que hemos estado trabajando. Creo que hay mejores maneras de poner esta frase, por lo tanto yo aprobaría que se que se quitara y se buscara una mejor formulación. Gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you, Mexico. India, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairperson. We'd like to support along with Mexico, the amendment of the Russian Federation and leave it at that, and to express some concern, some alarm at the use of the word gentrification. It is not enough. I mean, it is enough not only to not communicate, but to communicate in languages that other people don't understand is probably making the problem worse. Thank you.
Thank you, India. I see Senegal. Senegal, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais revenir moi aussi sur le terme d'embourgeoisement. Je ne sais pas en anglais, mais en français, c'est un terme fortement connoté. Et je pense que par respect pour l'État parti, il faudrait trouver au moins un autre terme. Merci.
Thank you very much, Senegal. Colombia, you have the floor.
Gracias, señor presidente. El término gentrificación, por lo menos en inglés, ha ido ganando terreno. Puede que la traducción al francés no sea correcta. Propongo lo siguiente: sustitución notable de la población residente tradicional por una nueva con mayores capacidades adquisitivas. Gracias.
Thank you, Colombia. South Africa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to support France and the Russian Federation by the removal of the impacts and the impacts related to the project, particularly with Mexico's explanation about that the project doesn't exist yet, and therefore it's not necessary to add that, and removal of that gentrification process. Thank you.
Thank you, South Africa. I hope, France, you want to give us the French version of gentrification. France, you have the floor.
Non, je voudrais simplement dire que pour moi, cette formulation est inacceptable. Nouvelle population en pouvoir d'achat plus élevé. Les transformations sociologiques ne relèvent pas de la Convention. Les villes, la population des villes est toujours de nature changeante dans la main du temps. Nous n'avons pas à nous préoccuper de ce problème.
Thank you, France. Germany, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In fact, I thought we could live with this formulation. We are discussing always all integral aspects, and if this is a valuable aspect for ECROM and ECOMOS, that they draw the attention to it doesn't mean that they think it's horrible. It's a point that is important, I think, for old town centers, because we have some countries where the old town centers are empty. We have some others where the population are driven out. We in Germany had this problem with the restoration in the eastern countries of Germany, and we think it's a serious problem. But why I originally asked the floor is I heard Mexico saying that the impacts are potential. So I wanted to suggest a compromise version for the rest and say the historic center and the potential impacts related to the Cinta Costera project. That is what Mexico wanted, which was supported by India, and I hope that Switzerland can live with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Germany. I see Switzerland again. Switzerland, you have the floor. Thank you. Mali, you have the floor.
Oui, merci. Concernant ce point, je crois que, au lieu de parler des populations de bourgeoisie, etc.,
il est mieux de parler de, comme on parle d'effondrement des bâtiments historiques, de remplacement de ces bâtiments par des nouvelles constructions, c'est tout. Hein?
Thank you, Mali. Colombia, you have the floor. Thank you for that. Mexico, you have the floor.
Gracias, señor presidente. Estoy estudiando las propuestas de enmiendas, pero quería corregir que la propuesta original de México era quitar la frase "and the impacts related to the Cinta Costera project", dado que nos ha informado el Estado parte que este proyecto todavía no existe. Estoy viendo si esta frase podría ser de compromiso, pero tendría que estudiarla a la luz de los cambios en otros párrafos, entonces quisiera que estuviera pendiente por el momento. Gracias, señor presidente, por su comprensión.
Thank you, Mexico. I see no other requests. The paragraph has become a bit busy. We were trying to consider the proposal by Mexico. France, perhaps you want to rescue us. You have the floor.
Je voudrais simplement demander, Monsieur le Président, le retrait de cette mention de la remplacement de la population locale par une population à pouvoir d'achat plus élevé. Je ne comprends absolument pas ce que cela vient faire dans ce texte.
Thank you, France. Algeria, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je crois que ce qu'il est dit par embourgeoisement, c'est un phénomène que nous connaissons tous dans les centres historiques. Ça donne une idée sur les efforts peut-être menés par l'État partie en matière de sauvegarde et de réhabilitation de ces centres historiques parce qu'ils appellent une autre population. Donc il y a des transformations sociales et je pense que je rejoins la position de la France et je propose que ce soit supprimé. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Algeria. I see Qatar. Qatar, you have the floor.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. نود أن نثني على ما قالته الجزائر ونوافق على المقترح الفرنسي. شكرا.
Thank you, Qatar. Can I hand over to the rapporteur to clean this paragraph and see how it reads? Perhaps we'll agree. Rapporteur?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Paragraph 3, following your amendments, reiterates its deep concern regarding the state of conservation of the property, in particular on addressed issues including the efficacy of the management system, the risk of collapse of historic buildings in the historical center. And here, Mr. Chairman, there was no consensus on leaving the potential impacts related to the Cinta Costera project, and Mexico requested to leave this paragraph pending until we go along with the rest of the decision. So could the Secretariat please try to clean the text a little bit with following what I read?
Are there any objections to this paragraph? I see none. Adopted. So we move on to the paragraph 4. Switzerland, yes.
Excusez-moi, Madame la Présidente, on n'a pas accepté le point 3 parce que tout est en crochet.
We accepted.
Mais quoi? Mais quel texte? Tout est en crochet. Donc, pour moi, non?
So, please read the text.
I am going to read again the text and the proposal of Mexico, Madam Chairperson. So far, it looks like the committee has agreed upon the following. Reiterates its deep concern regarding the state of conservation of the property, particularly unaddressed issues including the efficacy of the management system and the risk of collapse of historic buildings in the historic center, and that the last phrase of the paragraph, Mexico requested to leave it in brackets until we decide on the following paragraph of the draft decision. So the first part of the paragraph, it looks like there is consensus, and the rest we leave it in brackets, Madam Chairperson.
Okay, so we move on to the paragraph 4. Please, reporter, take the floor.
Sorry, Madam Chair. Sorry, Madam Chair. I had made a proposal, and then I have made a compromise proposal, thereby, offering to withdraw my own proposal, which was the long sentence without the potential. Mexico, in its statement, was citing that the impacts are only potential. So I suggested as a compromise to put the potential impacts. This is exactly what Mexico said. So it's amazing to me that they take a bit away. And just formally, you offered the text. It was on the screen, and it was adopted. You asked the committee whether somebody is against. Nobody was against, so we adopted it without brackets. I'm sorry.
Mexico.
Gracias por darme la palabra, señora presidenta. Mi nombre estaba levantado hace tiempo para poder explicar, y reitero la explicación que di antes. Lo que dijo la delegación de Alemania, que había sido la propuesta de México, no fue así. O sea, nosotros no dijimos que el daño era potencial, sino que todavía no se puede apreciar porque no existe el proyecto. Entonces, nuestra propuesta original, o sea, nuestra posición original era aceptar la enmienda como estaba propuesta por la Federación Rusa, que era quitar esa frase. Con los cambios, yo prefiero dejar esta frase pendiente, o sea, como ha dicho la relatora, en paréntesis, en lo que podemos ver cómo quedan los otros párrafos subsiguientes. Esa es la propuesta que estoy haciendo. Gracias.
Okay.
Yes, Germany.
Then I would suggest that we leave Switzerland and Germany's original also in brackets. Thank you.
Yes, of course. So we move on to the paragraph 4. Russian Federation, please.
Спасибо, уважаемые господа председатели. Да, мы поддерживаем предложение Мексики о том, чтобы оставить в скобках и вернуться потом после обсуждения.
Thank you. So we move on to the paragraph 4. As I see, it was no amendments. Are there anybody against this paragraph or have some amendments? I see none. So paragraph 4 adopted. Now we move on to the paragraph 5. So I don't see any amendments. Are there anybody against this paragraph? With A and B. So paragraph 5 is adopted. C, we have C, excuse me. So paragraph 5, A and B adopted, and we move to the paragraph C. So I see no objections. Paragraph 5.C is adopted, and paragraph 5D was no amendments adopted. So then we move to the paragraph 6. Russian Federation proposed to delete this paragraph. Mexico, please.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Mi delegación apoya la enmienda propuesta por la Federación Rusa en párrafo 6 y con relación, nada más una explicación con relación al párrafo anterior y una vez aprobado el párrafo 5 con las enmiendas propuestas, entonces mi delegación vuelve a insistir en que en el párrafo 3 la fase final debe ser borrada porque si el Estado parte va a revisar su proyecto de ley y va a someter mayor información y política sobre la protección de la propiedad y va a entrar de nuevo en diálogo con el comité y con las instancias pertinentes para proveer mayor información, todavía no podemos calificar el impacto del proyecto. Entonces, esa es la razón por la que no consideramos adecuada en el párrafo 3 terminar diciendo el impacto que el proyecto va a tener. Muchas gracias y repito, para continuar con la revisión que aprobamos la enmienda propuesta por la Federación Rusa. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Algeria, take the floor.
Madame la Présidente, je souscris donc à la proposition de biffer le paragraphe 6 ainsi que le paragraphe 7. Et je voudrais revenir à la proposition qui vient d'être faite par la représentante du Mexique de biffer également la portion de phrase au paragraphe 3 qui est entrecroché. Au paragraphe 3, nous parlons de projet de la Cinta Costera. Au paragraphe 6 et 7, nous parlons de construction de la CERTA, etc. C'est différent. Au paragraphe 3, c'est un état de projet puisque le viaduc n'existe pas encore. Donc continuons la lecture de la décision et nous verrons dans l'esprit d'un projet puisqu'il n'existe pas. Merci Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Switzerland, take the floor.
Merci Madame la Présidente. À ce stade, je ne me prononcerai pas sur la suppression des paragraphes 6 et 7, mais sur la suppression proposée à nouveau de la dernière phrase du paragraphe 3 par la déléguée du Mexique. Je ne vois absolument pas le lien qu'il y a entre la suppression de ce paragraphe et l'acceptation du paragraphe 5. Nous réaffirmons ici, dans le paragraphe 3, notre vive préoccupation quant à l'état de conservation du bien. Or, qu'est-ce que c'est que le bien? C'est le district historique de Panama, c'est ce qu'on appelle le Casco Viejo. Eh bien, là, on a une vive préoccupation et on se rend compte, dans les études actuelles, que, à ce stade-là, en tout cas, les impacts liés au projet de la Cinta Costera qui nous ont été présentés et qui ont été commentés vont avoir un impact, ou pour le moins un impact potentiel. Voilà où nous en sommes. Donc, il faut absolument maintenir cette dernière phrase du paragraphe 3. Merci Madame la Présidente. Je reviendrai sur les paragraphes 6 et 7 ultérieurement. Merci.
Thank you very much. France, you take the floor.
Merci Madame la Présidente. En ce qui concerne les paragraphes 6 et 7, il me semble que le paragraphe 6 peut être biffé puisque l'État partie nous a bien indiqué que la construction n'avait pas commencé. Donc nous n'avons pas à regretter une construction qui n'existe pas. En ce qui concerne le paragraphe 7, et je voudrais faire écho à la discussion précédente en ce qui concerne la préoccupation que nous pouvons avoir pour les impacts potentiels du projet. Il me semble qu'il a été une doctrine du comité de demander pour les grands équipements ce que l'on appelle une étude d'impact patrimonial. Je n'ai pas entendu que cette étude ait été réalisée ni présentée clairement. En ce qui concerne la délégation française, nous aimerions avoir plus de précision dans l'analyse de quels impacts s'agit-il, quelles valeurs sont affectées et de quelle façon. Il y a quand même dans ce site un certain nombre de caractères et la réalisation de ce viaduc va produire un certain nombre de changements. Mais encore faut-il que ces changements soient précisément décrits et qualifiés par rapport aux valeurs du bien, en tout cas les valeurs selon lesquelles il a été inscrit sur la liste du patrimoine mondial. Il y a évidemment une question générale du site. Évidemment, le viaduc va faire une barrière entre la péninsule et le grand large. Mais est-ce que cet élément-là met-il en danger une des valeurs du bien? Je n'ai pas d'opinion a priori, mais je demande que ces points soient clarifiés, soient exposés clairement, soient quantifiés au besoin. De la même façon, les vues depuis le bien vers le viaduc, du viaduc vers le bien, d'autres points de la côte vers le bien, en quoi la situation change et change de façon négative. Je pense que ces éléments sont extrêmement factuels et doivent être précisément décrits avant que le comité puisse se prononcer sur le projet. Merci Madame la Présidente.
It seems to me that I heard the question in your statement. So I would like to address this question is if it was done, the impact assessment by the state party. I see state party, please take the floor.
Yes, Madam Chair. The Heritage Impact Assessment was presented in 2012 in Paris, and it was completed by the Louis Berger Company, a world-renowned company.
Excuse me, and it was submitted to ICOMOS?
Yes, it was submitted both to the World Heritage Center and to ICOMOS.
And ICOMOS saw and revised this. ICOMOS, please take the floor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As noted in the State of Conservation report, we did receive the Heritage Impact Assessment commissioned by the State Party, and we have made our evaluation of the assessment in the State of Conservation report in front of the committee's hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much. India, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me first, on paragraph 6, agree entirely with the Russian Federation, Mexico, and Algeria. The heritage, as a committee, I think we are being, a difficult task is being made more difficult. Because if there is a heritage impact assessment, then, well, what did it say? Was there something, seriously negative in the way it would impact on the core heritage area? Or is this simply a kind of additional barrier between the property or the fringe of the property in the open sea, which raises entirely different questions. Paragraph 7 mystifies me. I don't see how you would reverse the work already carried out. First of all, the work hasn't been carried out. Secondly, if there was a pillar, would you carry the cement back to the manufacturing plant? How do you do this?
Germany, please take the floor.
Thank you very much. I will help to carry something back to the plant if necessary, and I think if we do it together, it might work. I would like to quote the following. Further notes the results of the joint World Heritage Center ICOMOS reactive monitoring mission. requests the state party to discontinue the construction of the Cinta Costera project phase 3, which would potentially have an impact on the outstanding universal value of the property, and submit to the World Heritage Center and advisory bodies in line with paragraphs 172 of the operational guidelines, alternatives, including technical specifications, as well as heritage impact assessments for review prior to approval. This was the decision of the honorable committee that met in Paris last year. It was not me in the committee, it was not some of the colleagues in the committee, but they were colleagues as qualified as us, or more qualified, because they had already long time experience before their term ended. Those of them who are no longer in this committee. This is a decision. If this committee goes so far as not to regret that the committee asks for something which is then not done, like the crossing out of paragraph 6, then I do not see why it makes sense to work in this committee. I'm talking on paragraph 6. If this committee doesn't think that its own decisions of the year before are relevant, and they don't regret that this hasn't happened, then welcome. What are we here for? We make any kind of decision, and next year we decide that they are all irrelevant again. I think we cannot proceed like this. We have to stay serious, and we have to understand that each and every one of us is trying to make the best of it. We have a deplorable state of World Heritage, and we hear the World Heritage, the perfect commitment to World Heritage protection. This doesn't go along very well. The city, we spoke about the bridge, we didn't speak about the historic center at all so far. So if paragraph 6 is really crossed out, I really ask Mexico, Algeria, and the Russian Federation to reconsider that. We have to say a word on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mexico.
Señora Presidenta, claro, por supuesto que tenemos que hacer referencia a las decisiones tomadas con anterioridad. Sin embargo, tenemos también que incluir la evolución de la discusión, como ha pasado el día de hoy. El día de hoy tuvimos la explicación del Estado parte que dice que el proyecto no ha iniciado, que los trabajos de construcción no han iniciado. Entonces, no pueden haber sido descontinuados porque no han iniciado. Podemos hacer referencia a las decisiones que se tomaron en la 35 sesión, y eso coincido plenamente con la delegación de Alemania. Podemos hacer referencia, podemos incluir una referencia factual a todas las decisiones que hicimos, pero también las tenemos que ajustar con una referencia nueva a la información que acabamos de escuchar. En ese sentido, el párrafo tal como está, no puede estar allí, puede estar pero mejorado, y por supuesto con una referencia a una decisión que se tomó el año pasado, desde luego haciendo honor a nuestros propios compromisos, incorporando la información nueva, porque para eso, si nada más estuviéramos recuperando las decisiones que se toman año con año, no tendría razón tampoco la reunión en la que estamos en este momento. Gracias, señora Presidenta.
Thank you very much, Algeria.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais revenir au paragraphe 6. Je crois avoir bien compris tout à l'heure, lorsque l'État partie a intervenu et qu'il a affirmé que les travaux de construction du viaduc n'ont pas commencé et que c'est à l'état de projet. Y a-t-il une information contraire? Vérifiez. Si c'est le cas, je me retirerai de l'article 6.
Maybe ICOMOS can clarify about the stage of the construction of this viaduct. ICOMOS, take the floor.
Yes, I'm giving the floor to my colleague from the center who has received the latest information.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In fact, the two pictures that the members of the committee have already seen, and in my presentation I already underlined that the platform have already started, as you can see in the two pictures referred in the presentation. One is the part of the conjunction between the part of the project Cinta Costera 2 and Cinta Costera 3. And the last picture that you have seen is a part of the itinerary or the main trajectory of the viaduct, which encircles, in fact, or is going to encircle the peninsula. So those pictures have been received for association, local association, national association, and el Colegio de Ingenieros Nacionales de Panamá. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. South Africa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with His Excellency from Germany when he says we must uphold the decisions we take in our own committee. But if those decisions we've taken are overtaken by events and new information comes up, we also have a responsibility to review them. That's why we meet. We are not robots. Therefore, it's important that when new information comes up, we review it appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Switzerland.
Après avoir entendu ce que le secrétariat vient de nous expliquer, j'ai une proposition à vous faire pour le paragraphe 6. D'une part, d'indiquer que le comité salue le fait que les travaux du viaduc n'aient pas encore commencé, mais regrette, cela correspond aux faits qui nous ont été donnés, le fait que les plateformes les travaux des plateformes, d'aménagement des plateformes, aient débuté contrairement à la décision prise par le Comité du patrimoine mondial lors de sa 35e session. Et là, nous nous en tenons 100% au fait. Et personne ne peut nous critiquer. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Maybe it is a compromise decision. What is your opinion? India, please.
I would like to hear, Madam Chair, the state party. Is this exploratory work? Is this the kind of planning work which takes place years before any project takes place? Or is this the beginnings of the project? And I think there's a difference. And by splitting it, I'm not sure we are solving something. And in any case, this paragraph is not central to the theme as it is developing. So I would like a clarification from the state party.
Please, state party, give the clarification about the work.
Sí, gracias. Vuelvo a resaltar taxativamente que hay dos obras en el litoral panameño, que son dos parques muy, pero muy alejados y muy independientes de esta obra, y son exclusivamente para dotar de espacios públicos al cual tenemos derecho. No tienen vinculación directa con la decisión del proyecto que el Estado panameño ha optado. Tenemos una decisión en cuanto a la mejor opción, una vez que fue estudiada, evaluada, realizando con todos sus estudios de impacto patrimonial, de todos sus estudios de impacto ambiental. Una vez entregado todos estos informes, conforme a todos los requerimientos, tenemos también derecho a crear y a dotar espacios públicos. Y no necesariamente tienen que tener una conexión directa con nuestro futuro posible proyecto. Entonces yo vuelvo a explicarle a los miembros del comité que son dos parques para dotar de espacios públicos a la comunidad y que no tienen una integración directa con el proyecto en mención. Gracias.
So, am I right that you didn't start yet any work on viaduct?
absolutamente no hemos comenzado ni un solo pilote. No hemos comenzado la obra. Hemos respetado todas las observaciones realizadas en la 35ª reunión, todas las observaciones, todas las recomendaciones. Hemos realizado ingentes estudios, esfuerzos por conseguir la mejor opción, luego de una serie de evaluación de varios proyectos. No ha sido solamente uno, no ha sido un túnel, no ha sido un puente, es una serie de estudios minuciosos con todas las injerencias necesarias para la preservación del patrimonio. Y de darse un inicio del proyecto que el Estado panameño ha elegido, es un proyecto que está muy lejos de la zona de amortiguamiento, de la cual también tenemos por legislación establecida, y se encuentra pues muy alejado. Es una línea, es un viaducto muy saludable con el entorno, y nuestra península jamás dejará de ser una península, porque los atributos por los cuales fueron inscritos en la lista de Patrimonio Mundial permanecen intrínsecos. Entonces, vuelvo a repetir con toda la seguridad y con toda la sinceridad y con todo el respeto que no hemos tocado ningún inicio del proyecto Viaducto Cinta Costera. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Germany.
Madam Chair, I think it's important that the question is concrete while we are in a decision-making process, and then the answer is short and precise. So I give another question to the state party. Does the state party say what UNESCO WHA Secretariat has been explaining on the commencement of this building process, not of the viaduct itself, but of the streets, the starting points of it, is untrue and a lie?
So, ICOMOS.
No, state party.
State party, please.
Once again, we reiterate that the viaduct has not begun. Any other project, any other fill, any other platform that we build in our country, in our national territory, under our legislation, has absolutely no relevance, simply because it happens to be in proximity with the area that we're talking about. So I think that's the only, I'm trying to be as concrete as possible. No, we have not started.
Thank you very much. So we received the clarification, so I would return your attention to the point 6. So Switzerland, please take the floor.
Eh bien, je propose un autre amendement, puisque maintenant la situation semble clarifiée. Salue le fait que les travaux du viaduc n'aient pas encore commencé conformément à la décision du comité du patrimoine prise à sa 35e session. Et alors, nous reconnaissons que le Panama a suivi pendant cette année nos recommandations. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. So what is the opinion of the committee? Do we support such? I see no, Russian Federation, do you have any objection? Senegal, Russian Federation, please.
Нет, разумеется, нет.
No, Senegal.
C'est pour appuyer donc la proposition de la Suisse.
India.
Madam Chair, I think it is factually correct. It's a very good idea. I'm wondering why we are spending so much time. But I'm also wondering, the information to the World Heritage Center is coming from NGOs, from associations. We spoke about it yesterday or maybe day before, the credibility check. You're going to a committee. We're talking about a state party. We're putting a state party, a government on the mat. I think we have to maintain some sense of perspective, some sense of balance. We're not talking, this is a government of a country. And we cannot deal with the government like this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, I propose, Colombia, please.
Gracias, señora presidenta. No, simplemente para apoyar el punto 6 como por la propuesta de Suiza. Eso es todo. Gracias.
Thank you very much, France.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je veux simplement souligner la pertinence de ce que vient de dire l'ambassadeur d'Inde, c'est-à-dire que des informations sont envoyées à l'ICOMOS, que l'ICOMOS va prendre au sérieux. Ces informations sont souvent envoyées par des groupes de pression qui pensent à toute autre chose que la conservation du patrimoine mondial. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much. So I propose to stop any discussion on this item. So I see no objection to the amendment proposed by Switzerland. So it sounds like welcome the fact the work on the viaduct has not yet begun in accordance with the decision taken by the committee at its 35th session. Are there any objections? I see none, so adopted. So we move on to the para 7. So Russian Federation, please give your rationale.
Нет, но я должен сказать, что логика всех предложенных предложений, всех внесенных предложений, она исходила как раз из посылки о том, что работы не начаты. В данном случае в этом пункте говорится о том, что нужно немедленно прекратить, значит, снова взять, пересмотреть начатые работы, уже проведенные, не буду зачитывать его до конца. Дело в том, что с нашей точки зрения этот пункт говорит о том, исходит из того, что работы начаты, что противоречит информации, которая была у нас до обсуждения от страны члена.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Switzerland, please take the floor.
Je soutiens la logique de la délégation russe. Merci.
Thank you very much. So, do you agree to abolish the point 7 of the regional resolution? Agreed. So we move on to the point 6. Now it was point 8, now it's point 6 of the resolution. India, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd support the Russian Federation, and if discussion should arise, I would refer back to what the French delegation reminded us of the outstanding universal value as at the time of inscription, meaning we cannot continue to play by changing the rules of the game successively. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. France?
Je souscris à ce que vient de dire l'ambassadeur d'Inde.
Thank you. So if nobody has any objections, so we can adopt. Switzerland, please take the floor.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Nous avons en fait une opposition contre les amendements présentés par la Fédération de Russie, parce qu'elles sont quand même un peu contradictoires. Avant, on disait, on ne sait pas s'il y a un impact, s'il n'y a pas d'impact, quel est le projet exactement. Maintenant, on arrive à la conclusion toute simple qu'il n'y aura de toute façon pas d'impact négatif sur la valeur universelle exceptionnelle du bien. Cette conclusion, elle est complètement raccourcie à ce point-là, parce que nous ne savons pas s'il y a un impact, donc nous ne savons pas s'il y a un impact négatif, et nous ne savons pas non plus, du coup, s'il y a un impact, on ne peut pas affirmer qu'il n'y a pas d'impact sur la valeur universelle exceptionnelle du bien. Donc nous nous opposons contre cette affirmation de dire qu'il n'y a pas d'impact négatif sur la valeur universelle exceptionnelle de ce bien. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Yes, thank you. India.
Madam Chair, I think we need a factual clarification. The outstanding universal value as originally inscribed, is there going to be any impact on it? Could we get a very clear-cut, categorical answer to that?
Thank you very much. ICOMOS, please take the floor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. At the time of inscription, no formal statement of outstanding universal value was adopted. The retrospective statement of OUV was submitted in 2011 and has been revised and sent back to the State Party for consideration and final review. The brief synthesis indicates this relationship that I pointed out between the historic center and the seascape. It also points out the important notions that have to do with location and setting that I also pointed out earlier in my presentation. The criterions that the State Party has mentioned are included in the statement of OUV as these were adopted, criterions 2, 4, and 6. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. India.
Madam, it does not answer the question. They have prepared a prospective statement of value and sent it to the State Party. Has the State Party accepted it?
But, okay, State Party, answer the question.
Yes, it is true that we received a letter in which ICOMOS actually, I believe the World Heritage Center, actually I believe the letter was from the director of the World Heritage Center, and we have a copy in which they reiterated that the criteria under which the historic district was inscribed were 2, 4, and 6. And neither of the three mention any relation whatsoever with the sea. Now, do remember that this designation is made up of two different properties, Panama Viejo and the historic district. Panama Viejo, which is not what we're referring to here, is in fact, has a different criteria. But we're talking about the historic district, and none of the three criteria refer to any relation whatsoever with the sea. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Germany.
May I put a question to the State Party, please? I'm sure that they have read the protocols again of the time of the inscription. Was it mentioned that it is an historic village at the seaside and that is used by people who are traveling with boats or something like that? And secondly, may I remind the committee of the fact that the title of this resolution, draft resolution 103, reads Archaeological Site of Panama Viejo and Historic District of Panama. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you answer this question? State Party.
Buenas noches. En realidad, el criterio que fueron tomados fueron 2, 4 y 6, y el 2 fue por el trazado urbano y las edificaciones existentes. La vinculación de la ciudad de Casco Antiguo, el distrito histórico, con el mar, nunca fue relacionado a su acceso. El acceso a la ciudad del Casco Antiguo era por la playa del Chorrillo, que está muy lejos de lo que está reconocido por la lista de Patrimonio de la Humanidad. Casco Viejo nunca tuvo un acceso directo al mar dentro de su península porque precisamente por la estratificación del suelo se utilizó como área de defensa porque evitaba que los barcos pudieran acceder al lugar. Los únicos criterios fueron tomados en cuenta fue el trazado, las edificaciones y el Salón Bolívar. Su relación con el mar no fue, y fue tomado en cuenta que fue la primera ciudad de asentamiento europeo en el litoral pacífico, más no su accesibilidad por mar.
Thank you very much. Germany.
Still had definitely the reference because it was mentioned that it is fortification towards the sea. Anyhow, I would like to support the Swiss proposal and that we come to this to make some progress, because if not, we may not. Thank you.
What do you think if we refer in this point to the necessity to make the assessment and maybe we have to say that the Cinta Costera Tres Maritime Viaduct project has to be studied for its impact to the outstanding universal value of the historic center of Panama. India, please.
Madam Chair, we're getting into very difficult territory. There was the criteria as it was inscribed. You have proposals to modify, enhance, increase. The difference, and I think this makes a difference in a third world country, irrespective of the way that we look at it, every time that you delay by a year, 2, 10, whatever, there is a cost. Are we not thinking of the people who live there? Are we not thinking that this access will allow people to exit? Is there not a sustainable livelihood dimension to all of this? Of course we can do an assessment. We can do it for years. But all of this was designed, was intended to provide for a better life without compromising the inherent outstanding universal value. So this is a very easy solution to say, well, all right, let's form a committee, let's have an assessment, and we'll take our time over it. But there are, the world is moving on, and these are not easy times. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Switzerland.
Très brièvement, Madame la Présidente, et pour avancer, pour soutenir ce que vous venez de proposer et que le projet de viaduc maritime de la Cinta Costera 3 doit faire l'objet d'une étude d'impact sur la vue. Merci beaucoup.
Excuse me, may I propose that Russian Federation, India and Switzerland sit together and formulate, taking in mind all proposed, amendments to this paragraph. Maybe it will facilitate our work. Please do it. Thank you. And now we move further. Please show the next item. Next, next paragraph. No, paragraph 7, please.
They are printing it.
Mm-hmm. So, also request the state party to submit an updated version of the management plan according to the requirement made by the committee in its decision 35,7b.130, as well as a comprehensive urban transportation traffic strategy. Are there anybody against this paragraph? Is there any, please? So, do you see this item, or I have to repeat it? Also requests the state party to submit an updated version of the management plan according to the requirements made by the committee in its decision 35,7b.130, as well as a comprehensive urban transportation traffic strategy. Are there anybody against this paragraph? Yes, Germany, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We like to add including alternative options.
As I understand, it doesn't concern this viaduct. They speak about transportation inside the historic city, as I understand. Russian Federation, can you make the clarification? Oh, they move on. You can answer it. Because here we don't speak about this viaduct. We speak about only the internal transportation inside the property.
No, we are speaking on a comprehensive urban transportation traffic strategy, and I think such a strategy should offer options.
Yes, of course. But is it necessary, especially to Mexico, please?
Gracias, señora presidenta. Esta enmienda que está pidiendo o sugiriendo la Federación Rusa nos parece correcta porque este tipo de información que tiene que ser provista por el Estado parte por relación a proyectos que tienen que ver con un centro urbano. De todas maneras, muchos de estos detalles tienen que ser provistos en posteriores ocasiones por el Estado parte para poder tener todos los detalles. Consideramos que la redacción es correcta y necesaria para poder cerrar algunos círculos. Gracias.
Switzerland, take the floor.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Nous soutenons également l'introduction de ce paragraphe avec l'amendement de l'Allemagne et nous nous permettons de proposer un petit ajout à la fin qui se lirait donc y compris des alternatives possibles pour le projet Costa Sintera 3 pour peut-être clarifier un peu la référence de cette dernière phrase. Merci Madame la Présidente.
So, are there anybody against this paragraph as amended by Germany? I see nobody is against, so adopted as amended. So now we move to the paragraph 9, which I would like belongs to the danger list, and we decided that we don't put in the danger list. So as I see, it is logical to take it off. So paragraph 9, like it was proposed by Russian Federation, to delete this paragraph, because it belongs to the danger list, description in danger list. Yes, Germany, please.
Sorry, Madam Chair, we haven't decided yet on paragraph 6, which is on the inclusion or non-inclusion of one part of it or the entire thing on the danger list.
We wait our colleagues. So in meantime, not to lose time, I would say, what I propose that we have some items which not require any discussion by the committee. It refers to the Africa sites. If you are not against, you can look at and we can adopt the decisions which not require any discussions. Please look on your document. I will read these sites. So, Royal Palaces of Abomey, Benin, Aksum, Ethiopia, Rockhead Churches, Lalibela, Ethiopia, Old Towns of Djenné, Mali, Pravasi Ghat, Mauritius, Island of Mozambique, Selum Delta, Senegal, Stone Town of Zanzibar, United Republic of Tanzania.
The Secretariat has something to say about Stone Town.
So, as I know, the Secretariat wants something to say about the last one, Stone Town of Zanzibar. Please, World Heritage Center, you have the floor.
Merci Madame la Présidente. C'est simplement pour porter à l'attention des membres du comité qu'au moment où le rapport a été présenté, l'État partie a tout de suite, quelques semaines après, soumis son évaluation d'impact environnemental. Donc cela pourrait éventuellement être reflété dans la décision. Merci.
But I suppose that if they submitted the report, they can change the formulation in the decision
Yes, we can.
without special discussion here. So it's technical thing.
We can authorize the rapporteur to do it.
So if you are a rapporteur, you can read this para. Yes?
We don't have yet a text, Madam Chairperson, but I will check with the Secretariat that the text will be included in the draft decision.
So if you agree with this, that it's not necessary to discuss, yes. Senegal, please take the floor.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je crois savoir que le Sénégal avait introduit un projet de modification de la décision 36,7b.44 concernant la ville historique de Djenné au Mali.
But it is not open for the discussion, or you put these amendments late. It's not for the discussion. So, or we have to open for discussion this site. Committee can open this site, please. So, it is proposed by Senegal, some amendments to all towns of Djenné, Mali. So, to make these amendments, we have to open this site for discussion. Germany, please take the floor.
I think, first of all, before we make the decision that we do not discuss, we must know exactly what we are about. So I suggest that we now make a decision on the sides we already all agree on that we do not discuss, and then we come back to it looking in the text writing of the Senegal and the Mali case, the Old Town of Zanzibar and the Mali case as mentioned by Senegal. I think if a committee member wants to make an adjustment, then we should look into it. Thank you. But we can repeat, please, the list with the normal ones, and then the two other ones we decide upon later. Thank you.
So it is, we propose to adopt without discussion the follow sites, reports on follow sites. So Royal Palaces of Abomey, Benin, Aksum, Ethiopia, Rockhounds Churches, Lalibela, Ethiopia, A Pravasi Gat, Mauritius, island of Mozambique, Selum Delta, Senegal. That's all. So if you have nothing against, so we adopt the resolution on these sites. And 2 sites we will open and amend. So if you are not against, and we have time, so we can go further, I would draw your attention to the Arab states, sites, state of conservation. Here we have all sites proposed to adopt without discussion. If it's possible, I would like to give the floor to the World Heritage Center. Can you? There is nobody. Okay, I will cite myself. Ancient Thebes with its necropolis, Egypt. Historic Cairo, Egypt. Tyre, Lebanon. Wadi Kadisha, the Holy Valley, and the forest of the Cedars of God. Horsh Arts El Rab, Lebanon. Archaeological site of Syrian, Libyan, Arab, Jamahiriya. Rock art sites of Tadrat, Akakus, Libyan, Arab, Jamahiriya. Ancient Ksur of Wadan, Chingeti, Tishit, and Kualata, Mauritania. Bakhla Fort, Amman. Ancient villages of northern Syria, Syria Arab Republic. Archaeological site of Carthage, Tunisia. Old city of Sana'a, Yemen. So if there are nobody who wants to open any site or have some amendments, so we can adopt the resolution on these sites, which are proposed to adopt without discussion. I see no objections, so adopted. Asia.
They want to end their interpretation, I think. They want to close the interpretation.
Dear colleagues, it is 7 o'clock now. The interpretation wants to finish their work. So tomorrow we start with the same item. Archaeological site of Panama Viejo and historic district of Panama. Can I ask our interpreters maybe to, if you are not against, 15 minutes more, and I hope that we will finish. Interpreters, please, 15 minutes. I would ask you to work, okay? Thank you. So I see our colleagues, which I hope brought us something valuable. Please, who will present the paragraph 6